like mountains and border areas. We are extremely honored and privileged for our esteemed guest for today's conference, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Honorable Minister of Roads, Transport and Highways, Government of India. Heartiest welcome, sir. Let's put our hands together for a huge round of applause. Also, a very warm welcome to our other dignitaries on the dais, Lieutenant General Raghu Srinivasan, Director General Border Roads Organization, Ms. Bhavani Kuneru, Member, FICCI Committee on Transport Infrastructure and Executive VP and Head Urban Transit, Larsen and Toubro, Ms. Neeja Singh, Assistant Secretary General, FICCI. Before we proceed to the ceremony, may I please invite Ms. Bhavani Kuneru to present the Green Certificate to the Honorable Minister, please. Ladies and gentlemen, at FICCI, in keeping our commitment towards sustainability, instead of presenting, we present a thicket of tickets, trees to our ministers and our dignitaries. May I also request Ms. Bhavani to please give a certificate to Lieutenant General Raghu Srinivasan, please. To set the ball rolling, may I please invite Ms. Bhavani to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India, Lieutenant General Raghu Srinivasan, Director General Border Road Organization, senior officials from the government, distinguished speakers and delegates. It's my proud privilege to welcome Shri Nitin Gadkari ji for the second edition of Tunneling in India, Emerging Trends and Opportunities. So thank you for taking your valuable time to be with us today. Indeed, we are extremely grateful, sir. You are indeed a visionary leader with great ideas and innovative approach who has transformed the road transportation infrastructure landscape in the country today. We are thankful to Lieutenant General Raghu Srinivasan, who joined us today for this very important industry initiative. Tunnel construction in India is rapidly transforming nation's infrastructure, enhancing connectivity to boost the economic growth. Beauty of tunneling is we connect from one point to the other point without any constraints, as the underground space in India is fully yet to be tapped. But it is true that we have a lot of opportunities also because of this unexpected space. India as a country, we have got a very rich heritage and culture. And we know that every kingdom in India has built many tunnels, let it be for the transit or for the water or for the sewage or for the escape tunnels. But in the recent past, West has taken the lead in developing the lot of tunnels. India too, in past decade or so, yes, we are coming back with the focus on the road infrastructure by building tunnels because our space on the ground almost is not available now. This paucity of space, and with the lot of trust from the government on the developing the infrastructure, we are able to focus on the tunneling construction in India once again back. And also we are able to attract a lot of investment also. We must have seen even the Harappa and Mazumdaro, how much of tunnels have been constructed, built today. Even today, they are all really classic examples of the technology and the skill set of Indian engineers. These engineering marvels are fostering, promoting tourism, increasing quality of life, especially in regions with challenging terrains. Ladies and gentlemen, as we witness remarkable expansion of transportation infrastructure in roads and railways, with no more space on the ground, demands for tunneling has surged. This sector has gained significant momentum, driving enhanced government support. Center to this growth, the Government of India's Gati Shakti initiative, which focuses on integrated infrastructure development and streamlined project execution. Gati Shakti is set to create a seamless logistics network and boost overall efficiency, further accelerating the advancement and demand in the tunnel construction. India's extensive tunnel network comprises almost 2,000 kilometers, and another 2,000 kilometers is under construction, and many more thousands of kilometers of tunnels are in pipeline, and the longest road tunnel being recently approved by Karnataka government, 18 kilometers of road tunnel from connecting between 2 points within the city of Bangalore. With so much of opportunities going forward, I would like to pose a question to all the industry leaders present over here. Are we really ready to take up these opportunities? Are we ready to take up these challenges and develop the infrastructure, the pace at which it is required to be done? Are we ready with the technology itself? Are our dependency on for the supply chain or for the technology will continue to be on Western countries? Or can we have with our own innovative technology, with the capability what we have, can we develop our own technology which is required for the custom made to Indian geological conditions and the cost competitiveness what is required for us as a country? Yes, some steps are taken, like tunneling academies have been developed, already state of the art have been constructed in Delhi and Chennai, but in the world there are only 3. That shows, yes, we are poised to take up the challenges and grab the opportunities, but is it enough? That's a question to all of us to revisit and really look into. But if you ask me, I would say there are many other opportunities where in the technology front, yes, we have a space for which we can to have some of these challenges. I would like to ask again, even the tunneling when we are doing, if we want to do this 2,000 to 3,000 kilometer, when we don't have a space on ground, where are we going to dump all this muck which is coming out of soil, the tunneling, which is the extremely good soil, we call it as a waste material. Can we reutilize that? Can we repurpose that particular, the extremely good material which we are excavating from the ground so that we can reuse it? Even the rubber gaskets are being imported today. Can't we have our own MSMEs developed, and going forward, can we have our own technology centers developed for this? Even we are not using, other than OPC for the all infrastructure projects, we are not even ready to switch over to PPC and even the granular material. Like this, lot of innovative materials which we need to. While we'll address this technology, we also need to address the risk related to land acquisition, contractual, geological risk, and also the skilled manpower for timely deliverables, which is required. And even fireboards which are being used in the tunnels. Is it necessary that we need to import them, and can't we develop a concrete which is sufficient for us to have the adequate fire rating and then get into that kind of a concrete technology? So going forward, innovation is going to be the key for success and also to create more and more opportunities and more investments also. Today's conference will be focusing on exploring key trends in the technology and opportunities in the tunneling. Delhi witnessed a lot of flooding every monsoon season. Can we, with the help of the tunneling technology, control this flooding? We will also today we will also be discussing on effective strategies for contractual framework that will include robust risk sharing mechanism with various stakeholders. This conference aims to foster a comprehensive understanding of current landscape and also to identify best practices for sufficient tunneling endeavors. As FICCI, we remain dedicated to fostering collaboration between private and government sectors, bolstering initiatives and goals set forth by the Government of India. This commitment contributes to India's vision of achieving economical, infrastructure, and comprehensive development from an industry standpoint. I encourage all stakeholders to share their perspectives on the technology, knowledge, and tunneling development and challenges facing the sector. This conference will address the key issues and explore major opportunities within the industry. We hope to gain insights, direction, and concrete outcomes from these deliberations. FICCI will make notes of key takeaways from this conference and present it to the Ministry for review. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. I hope the discussions at this conference will turn out to be as fruitful as this agenda. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Ms. Koneru, for the context setting and warm welcome. I would now request Lieutenant General Raghu Srivasan for his special address, please.
जय हिंद। माननीय मंत्री महोदय सर, श्री नितिन गडकरी, the Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Ms. Bhavani Koneru, Ms. Neerja Singh, both of FICCI. members of this seminar. मैं सीमा सड़क संगठन का महानिदेशक हूँ और इसलिए मैं आपको बॉर्डर की तरफ ले जाऊंगा और अगले 4 या 5 मिनट में मैं आपको हमारी जो सीमा सड़क संगठन की जो एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं टनलिंग में मैं आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करूंगा. The first is that we deal entirely with the Himalayas, which have fragile geology, which is something each one of us knows. So then in this geology, everyone understands these are young mountains, seismically active, fractured rock masses. But we need to do something about it when we actually go in for the process of tunneling. The second is, as brought out by Ms. Bhavani, that we deal with a huge amount of water ingress because these mountains are going to be covered with snow, which is going to melt, and which, with the pervious nature of the overburden, is going to come into the tunnel. The third point, which I want to underscore amongst the many points which I have, is that this is a very ecologically and geologically fragile zone. So that means that the tunneling itself should not trigger avalanches and landslides, which can happen. हमारी जो जर्नी है टनल्स की, ये I would say it has surged with the government giving us an opportunity, with government policy direction and the impetus and funding. We have transformed primarily because we have been encouraged to transform and we have been given an ecosystem to transform. I would most fervently thank the Honorable Minister, sir, that based on the surge to the highways and from the highways, the bridge and tunnel sector, we have also gained in the border roads. So what border roads was 10 years ago, there is a sea change and transformation, and I would like to pat myself on the back, pat our organization on the back. We become the agency of choice in the difficult, challenging border areas which have both climate and other challenges which come with them. So we started, one of our flagship projects is the Atal Tunnel, all of you know about. It was conceived by the Honorable Prime Minister in Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and the foundation stone was laid in 2010. We faced numerous challenges in this extremely difficult tunnel, and the most important was the Serinala fault zone, where we, between kilometer 2.2 and 2.8, for about 600 meters, we had a huge water channel which began flowing into the tunnel. We have with us one of the participants, Colonel Parikshit Mehra. He will be able to tell you more about this, but we had to use drainage reinforcement, excavation and support to clear the water. And finally, we achieved the breakthrough in 2017. In 2020, it was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. And today, I can assure you that this is one of the highest tunnels above 10,000 feet in the world. It is the longest in that particular category, and it has a mention in the Guinness Book of World Records. I would urge all of you who have not been to that area to travel through this tunnel to give you an experience of what can be done and what was done by a collection of great technologists, of government support, of people who try to do something different. We also have just completed the Sela tunnel, which all of you understand was the connectivity to Tawang over the Sela Pass, which the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated on the 9th of March this year. Here also we encountered problems in the sense that there was a huge cavity of approximately 25 meter and 12 meter, which we encountered. And the issue was resolved by isolating the cavity, and we began work from both ends. This way, the excavation could progress as normal while the cavity was being treated. And we were able to complete the tunnel in acceptable timelines. This is the highest tunnel in India, that is at 13,000 feet. This is the highest tunnel in India. You can understand that at 13,000 feet on the Sela Pass, that we have the additional challenge of very limited working season. We have the challenge of long lines of communication, sub-zero temperatures, freezing water, and the other challenges which would be associated with high altitude construction. So what has been brought out so eloquently by Ms. Bhavani was that there is a need for investigation and exploration, specialized geotechnical analysis, robust monitoring systems. These are the need of the hour, and why I say so is because our tunnels are being constructed in a very fragile environment, the geologically sensitive environment. In addition to the tunnels, and we have a large number of tunnels, as we speak, we have 6 tunnel projects on hand. You would realize that, you would have heard that the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the Shinkunla tunnel very recently at Kargil, and this tunnel will connect Himachal Pradesh to the Ladakh Valley of Padam. This will open up the third axis and give all-weather connectivity, which is hitherto not there, to the Leh region. It's a strategically important tunnel, as also it has the byproduct of opening up to the Zanskar region. And this tunnel, once completed in 4 years' time, will be the highest tunnel in the world, which is being constructed above 15,000 feet. So we have our hands, we have a fair basket of options that we are dealing with. In addition to tunnels, we are making caverns. Now, caverns are required by the army, which are of length approximately 75 meters, constructed in areas essentially for storage of our warlike stores. So we are doing about 50 caverns in Leh and Ladakh. We participated along with so many basket of government agencies who did a phenomenal job in the rescue operations for Silkyara Tunnel. We learned a lot in that entire process. And here I urge everyone that such seminars, conferences, bringing together the best minds, not only officially, but possibly informally when we have a cup of tea, talking together, we learn from each other, and that would be the best way. Another way would be that we would urge you to come and see what work we are doing, like we go out and see the other work, the phenomenal work which is being done on the Zujila Tunnel by the MORTH, which gives us inspiration. We go there and see the work, we monitor how it is going on, and we learn from there for the work that we do. So to enhance our work, like any other agency, we have invested in both training and equipment. So we have procured the equipment for ourselves. As you know, the border roads has the unique distinction of being able to work departmentally. Not only we have to contract outside, but most of the work we are able to do from within our resources. So we have procured the tunnel equipment like boom drilling jumbo machines, heavy duty wheel loaders, medium weight rock drills, heavy duty excavators, of course, which are dual use. And we've also invested in training. We have on the job training. We send to our subordinates and officers to all tunnels which are being constructed. We have regular courses at our headquarters, which is here in Narayana. And for each of the young officers on commissioning, once they come to the Border Roads organization, we send them for a 2-week tunneling specific course at the Maharashtra Institute of Technology in Pune. We also, government has also very kindly authorized us to send 2 officers on the MTech course at Graz in the University of Austria. So as of now, we have 12 officers who are trained on this MTech course. I finish by saying that the opportunities for tunnels are in India are limitless. We collectively need to hone our skills. Tunnels, as all of you know, have so many seminal advantages of providing all-weather connectivity, reducing distances, ensuring that we are able to get through geologically fragile and climatically challenged areas. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to such an eminent gathering. I thank the Honorable Minister again, sir. And with that, I conclude. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Srinivasan, for taking this room full of tunnel sector enthusiasts closer to the great work being done by your esteemed organization. Moving forward, keeping in mind the importance of knowledge in the sector, FICCI, in partnership with CRISIL, has prepared a report on advancing tunneling in India, challenges, priorities, and potential solutions. We would now request the Honorable Minister to kindly release the report, also requesting other dignitaries on the dais to join, and Mr. Fani Prasad Mandal Parthi from CRISIL to join us on the stage to release this report, please. Ladies and gentlemen, at FICCI, we hold knowledge in the highest regard. We recognize the value of learning from the past, drawing lessons that shape our strategies for the future. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for launching this report. We are striving to empower businesses and contribute to their growth and success through these research materials. Without any further ado, the time of the day is here. It is our proud privilege and honor to invite the Honorable Minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, to kindly deliver the keynote address and share his vision towards advancement in the tunneling sector in India.
Respectable Lieutenant General Raghu Srinivasan, DG BRO, Sri D. Sarangi, DG MRTH, Ms. Bhavani from Executive Vice President L&T, Ms. Niraja Singh from FICCI, सभी सम्मान्य अतिथिगण और उपस्थित सभी भाई और बहनों, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये टारगेट रखा है कि हम आत्मनिर्भर भारत बने और $5 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी हमको बनना है। अभी वर्ल्ड में हमारा 5वां नंबर है और हम 3rd नंबर पर जाने की हमारी एम्बिशन है। वी आर द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी इन द वर्ल्ड और ट्रेड इंडस्ट्री बिजनेस में अगर गति लानी है, इवन एग्रीकल्चर को भी प्रोग्रेस करना है, तो 4 चीज़ें बहुत ज़रूरी है: वाटर, पावर, ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड कम्युनिकेशन। ये 4 चीज़ें अगर नहीं होगी तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप नहीं होगा, तो देश में उद्योग व्यवसाय बढ़ नहीं सकते। स्वाभाविक रूप से हमारे देश का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का डेवलपमेंट हमारे लिए बहुत आवश्यक है। मैं जब महाराष्ट्र में मंत्री था तो मुंबई में मेरे ऑफिस में मैंने जॉन एफ कैनेडी जी की एक स्टेटमेंट को सामने लिख कर रखा था। उन्होंने कहा था कि अमेरिकन रोड्स आर नॉट गुड बिकॉज अमेरिका इज रिच, बट अमेरिका इज रिच बिकॉज अमेरिकन रोड्स आर गुड। जो प्रॉस्पेरिटी आती है वो रोड से आती है। और दूसरी इंपॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि हमारे देश में अगर हमको एक्सपोर्ट को बढ़ाना है तो लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट को कम करना होगा। हमारी जो लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट है वो 14 से 16% तक जाती है, चाइना में 8 से 10% है और अमेरिका और यूरोपियन कंट्रीज में 12% है। अगर हमने हमारे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में अच्छे रोड बनाए और फ्यूल में भी अगर हमने अल्टरनेटिव फ्यूल और बायो फ्यूल पर जाएंगे तो मुझे लगता है कि हम सिंगल डिजिट पे आ जाएंगे। और अगर 9% पे अगर लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट आएगी तो हमारा एक्सपोर्ट 1.5 गुना कम से कम निश्चित रूप से होगा। और इसलिए अच्छे रोड, अच्छी टनेल, अच्छे ब्रिजेस ये बनाना बहुत ही आवश्यक है। अभी मैं तो इंजीनियर नहीं हूँ, पर एक बात का मैं अनुभव कर रहा हूँ और मैं आपको सुझाव के रूप में दूंगा कि टनेलिंग के बारे में सोचना होगा तो हर जगह पर जियोलॉजी अलग अलग है। और ये थोड़ा सा मुझे जियोलॉजी थोड़ी सीखने की एक बार अवसर मिला था। तो जियोलॉजी में मिनरलॉजी, क्रिस्टोग्राफी, जियो फॉर्मोलॉजी, अलग अलग उसके पार्ट है। उसमें जो रॉक्स का जो हार्डनेस था, उसको गिनने के लिए हमें एक मोहा स्केल ऑफ हार्डनेस बताई थी। टाल्क, जिप्सम, कैल्साइट, एपिटाइट, ऑर्थोक्लाइट, क्वार्ट्ज, कोरंडम, डायमंड। तो ये जो 4 रॉक्स का वर्गीकरण है, उसमें ये हिमालयन टेरिन ही अलग है पूरा। मेरा जन्म महाराष्ट्र में हुआ है और मैं मुंबई पुणे एक्सप्रेस हाईवे में मंत्री होने के बाद 6 टनल बनाने का सौभाग्य मुझे मिला। तो वो कोंकण रेलवे को दिया था, एल&टी ने भी 2 टनल बनाई, एससीसी ने भी बनाई थी। तो हमारे दिमाग में ये बात पक्की बैठी है कि जो पहाड़ यानी पत्थर, ये हमारे मन का परसेप्शन है कि भाई कोई पहाड़ है दिखता है तो पत्थर। अब जब मैं हिमालयन टेरेन में घूमता हूँ तो यह नया अर्थ निकला, पहाड़ यानी मिट्टी, मिट्टी का बड़ा ढिकारा बना हुआ है और अंदर में सफेद वाले पत्थर है। और इसके कारण हमारे टोटल विजन जो इसमें काम करने की, वो लगभग फेल हो गई। अभी मनाली से लेकर कुल्लू तक हमने 3-3.5 हजार करोड़ का रोड बनाया और लैंडस्लाइड्स में और बाढ़ में पूरा रोड उखड़ गया, क्योंकि इधर पहाड़ उधर पहाड़, इधर रोड, बीच में रिवर और उसमें लोग बसे हुए और लोगों को निकालना भी कठिन है। और टेरेन ऐसा है और पूरी तरह लैंडस्लाइड्स होती है। हर साल बरसात में लैंडस्लाइड हो रही है, हर साल लोग मर रहे हैं और अभी तक हमें ऐसा लीक प्रूफ कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं मिला। इसमें शब्द नहीं यूज करना चाहिए, पर मुझे मोह होता है कि ये सबसे कल्प्रिट कोई है तो ये टीपीआर बनाने वाले आप में बैठे होंगे कुछ लोग, और मैं ये कल्प्रिट शब्द यूज कर रहा हूं तो आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट, क्षमा मांगता हूं। ये घर में बैठ के और बहुत से डीपीआर बनाने वाली की कंपनियां, सरकारी अधिकारी रिटायर्ड होने के बाद उन्हीं की कंपनियां होती है और ये लोग इतना घटिया काम करते हैं कि कोई घर में बैठ के गूगल पे तैयार करते, कोई डिटेल इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं होता, डिटेल स्टडी नहीं होता। और हमारे सरकार में जो हमारे सिस्टम है वो इतनी एक्सपर्टाइज है कि अंधे जैसे होते, आंखें नहीं होती, वैसे डीपीआर मिलने के बाद वो केवल एक ही काम करते हैं कि तुरंत टेंडर निकालने का काम करते हैं और वो टेंडर निकालने का उनको मालूम है कैसे निकालना। और टेंडर निकालने भी अभी मिनिस्टर तो बेचारे कोई समझने वाले रहते ही नहीं, तो टेक्निकल और फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन ऐसे डालते हैं कि जन्म होने के पहले ही कौन सी लड़की कैसे होगी इसके पूरे प्रिस्क्रिप्शन तैयार होता है। हमारे यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में हमारे यहाँ एक मंत्री थे, वो टेक्निकल और फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन में तो उन्होंने हद कर दी थी। इतना ही लिखना बाकी था कि काला कोट पहनकर जो आएगा टेंडर लेने के लिए उसी को टेंडर मिलेगा, इतना ही लिखना बाकी था। और ये जो बड़े कंपनियां हैं वो अपने हिसाब से, अभी मुझे कोई संकोच नहीं कि बड़ी कंपनियां ही अपने हिसाब से, बहुत से, सब लोग ऐसे ऐसा नहीं मैं कहूँगा, जिनको लगती मेरी टोपी वो पहचान गए कौन किसको कह रहा हूँ, तो वही बराबर टेक्निकल और फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन अपने हिसाब से कराते हैं। हमें लगता है कि सरकार हम चलाते हैं, सरकार में भगवान का महत्व नहीं होता, सरकार में महत्व केवल नंदी का होता है। और वो चेक करता है क्या है, जो हमारा जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी, अंडर सेक्रेटरी, वो गाइड एंड फिलोसोफर होता है और जो फाइल पर लिखता है वही सेक्रेटरी डीजी साइन करते हैं, साहब के लिए नहीं कह रहा हूँ वही साइन करता है और मंत्री भी वैसे ही साइन करता है। ऐसा ही हमारा राम राज्य है और इसके कारण कॉस्ट बहुत बढ़ती है। मैं पहली बार झोजिला टनल के बारे में 12,000 करोड़ की एस्टिमेटेड कॉस्ट थी, कैबिनेट ने अप्रूव दिया था और एसोसिएम के साथ साल भर हमने स्टडी किया और बहुत से करके टेक्निकल फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन में मैंने भी खूब इंटरेस्ट लिया और पहली बार 7-8 पार्टियां क्वालिफाई हुई और हमारे कम से कम, अभी ये इनको काम मिला है मेधा इंजीनियरिंग को, तो हमारे 5,000 करोड़ बच गए। द प्रोजेक्ट which was sanctioned for 12,000 crore, वो अब 5,200-300 करोड़ में होगा। इसका कारण कंपटीशन हुई। जब ब्रिजेस में भी ऐसे ही होता है, जैसे एक व्यक्ति अगर 2 मंजिले की बिल्डिंग बना सकता है तो 10 मंजिले बनाने में क्या एक ही बात है, केवल ऊपर जाना है कंक्रीट भर के स्लैब डालते हुए। तो ये हमारे यहाँ सरकार में बड़े दिमागदार लोग हैं, बोलते 3 मंजिले बनाए क्या, 5 मंजिले बनाए क्या, 8 मंजिले बनाए क्या, और फिर उसमें से 2 ही आदमी निकलते 10 मंजिले वाले, फिर उसमें भी लिख देते कि 10 मंजिले जिसने कंप्लीट किया है वही होगा। फिर कहेंगे कि एक 10 मंजिले बनाए होंगे पर कहीं लीकेज हुआ होगा तो डिस्क्वालीफाई होगा, तो वो बराबर कोई ना कोई पानी आता ही है तो वो बराबर डिस्क्वालीफाई होगा। तो ये सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि हमको डीपीआर अच्छा करना चाहिए। ये डीपीआर के बारे में अभी ये लैंडस्लाइड लगातार हो रही 4 धाम पर, अभी आखिरी में वहां तो इन्वायरमेंटलिस्ट वगैरह भी है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज भी मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं। पर अब जब मैंने ये देखा तब मैंने कहा कि ये हर साल लैंडस्लाइड हो रही, लोग मर रहे हैं, तो क्यों ना हम ये करें कि भाई कुछ टनल ज्यादा बनाए, पर एक बार परमानेंट तो सोल्यूशन होगा। हम लोगों के जीवन से क्यों खेल रहे हैं? क्योंकि वो स्ट्राटा ही ऐसा है कि वहां कभी भी गिर सकता है। तो मुझे लगता है आपसे मेरी पहली रिक्वेस्ट है कि जो ब्लैक रॉक है वहां जो टनलिंग है और जो हिमालयन टेरेन में है, इसको 2 पार्ट में आप डिवाइड करके इसका अध्ययन करिए। और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ जगह टनल डालकर, हमारे यहाँ नागपुर में मैंने हिम्मत से एक प्रयोग किया था, हमारा एक रेलवे अंडरपास बनाना था। तो नेचुरली हमारे यहाँ मद्रास दिल्ली और मुंबई कलकत्ता दोनों लाइन एक ही जगह से जाती है, 180 ट्रेन जाती रोज, और वो नीचे में अंडरपास बनाना यानी उसको ट्रेन को 4 घंटे का लेना प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल नहीं था। तो एक ने मुझे कहा कि हम बनाते, हमने पुश बैक टेक्नोलॉजी से प्रीकास्ट किए हुए ब्लॉक को लगाकर धीरे धीरे पुश करके उन्होंने अभी 1, 2, तीसरा भी अभी बनाया और रेलवे 1 मिनट भी नहीं रुकी। अब जहां इस प्रकार के लैंडस्लाइड्स होते हैं वहां प्रीकास्ट का उपयोग करके हम उसको कम से कम कवर करें, जो डेंजरस स्पॉट है, रेड स्पॉट है, ब्लैक स्पॉट है, तो प्रीकास्ट का उपयोग करके अगर हम उतना एरिया कवर करके रखते तो भी होगा। या दूसरा ऐसा होगा कि कंक्रीट की पिलर लेकर उसके ऊपर में स्लैब तैयार करके वहां से कुछ जगह हमारे यहाँ प्रयोग हुआ है। तो क्या है कि सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है कि हमारे जनता की, लोगों की सेफ्टी। ये अच्छी बात नहीं है कि लैंडस्लाइड्स होती है, हर साल बरसात में होती है, हर साल बाढ़ आता है और हर साल लोग मरते हैं, बादल फटता है। वी नीड टू फाइंड आउट सम परमानेंट सोल्यूशन, और वो कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव भी होना चाहिए। क्वालिटी ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन को इंप्रूव करना चाहिए और कॉस्ट ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन को कम करना चाहिए। और इसलिए अलग अलग प्रकार के जो मटेरियल्स है, जैसे ग्लास फाइबर स्टील है, लाइट है, अच्छे है। अभी हमारे यहाँ मैं 3 साल से पीछे पड़ा हूं कि समुद्र के बाजू में जो ब्रिज बनते हैं उसमें स्टेनलेस स्टील का ही उपयोग करना चाहिए। क्योंकि मुझे मालूम है, मैं जब मुंबई में 55 फ्लाईओवर बना रहा था तो एक व्यक्ति ने मुझे मूर्ख बनाया था। उसने एक पाउडर कोटिंग करके हरे रंग का लोहा देके बोला ये रस्ट नहीं लगेगा, और मैं विश्वास रखा, लगा, रस्टिंग हुआ। तो अभी ऐसा है कि जहां 30 किलोमीटर समुद्र के बाजू में है वहां स्टेनलेस स्टील यूज किए बिना पर्याय नहीं है। अगर वो शिवाजी का पुतला अगर स्टेनलेस स्टील यूज होता तो 100% वो नहीं गिरता। आप मुंबई में देखो, कितना भी अच्छा काम करो, समुद्र के बाजू में जो बिल्डिंग है वो जल्दी उसमें रस्टिंग लग जाता है। तो इसलिए कहीं ना कहीं कौन से मटेरियल को यूज करना, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव कौन सा है, और इसमें प्रीकास्ट का उपयोग और ज्यादा प्रमाण पर करना। और मुझे लगता है कि जहाँ हार्ड रॉक है वहाँ नेचुरली आपकी जो ड्रिलिंग बोरिंग मशीन्स होगी वो पावरफुल लगेगी, पर जहाँ मिट्टी है या कोई ज़्यादा हार्डनेस नहीं है वहाँ हेवी मशीन की ज़रूरत नहीं है। तो क्या मशीन भी ऐसे 2 प्रकार की हो सकती है क्या, जो रॉक के लिए अलग हो और हिमालयन टेरेन के लिए जिसके लिए अलग हो? अगर रॉक लगता है तो वो मशीन यूज करेंगे, नहीं तो ये करेंगे। और दूसरा जो पुशबैक टेक्नोलॉजी से प्रीकास्ट के बनाए हुए बड़े बड़े ये करके पुशबैक करके हम अंदर जाएंगे, तो ये हो सकता है क्या? कोई भी चीज में सक्सेस स्टोरी बनाने के लिए उद्योग व्यापार और इंडस्ट्री में 4 बातें जरूरी होती है: प्रूवन टेक्नोलॉजी, इकोनॉमिक वायबिलिटी, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल एंड मार्केटेबिलिटी ऑफ द फिनिश प्रोडक्ट। अब प्रॉब्लम मैं ये भी समझता हूँ कि कैपिटल कॉस्ट अगर मशीनरी में ज्यादा लगेगी तो प्रॉब्लम आएगा। अभी इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रक्स आ गए, अब कंस्ट्रक्शन इक्विपमेंट वालों के पीछे मैं भी पड़ा हूँ। कल हमारा बड़ा बायो फ्यूल और अल्टरनेटिव फ्यूल पे हुआ। अभी सीएनजी की मैंने वहाँ जेसीबी देखा, मैंने लॉन्च किया था, और 50% सीएनजी और 50% डीजल। उनको रशिया में 1000 जेसीबी का ऑर्डर मिला। अभी आप देखिए कि कितना इकोनॉमिक्स बढ़ा है कि मैंने बजाज की स्कूटर मोटरसाइकिल लॉन्च की, तो एक पेट्रोल पर चलती है तो पर किलोमीटर कॉस्ट आती है 2 रुपये 25 पैसा, और सीएनजी पे चलती है तो 1 रुपया आती है। यानी 60% कॉस्ट फ्यूल में बचाना यानी कितनी बड़ी बात है। और अगर हम इलेक्ट्रिक को यूज करेंगे तो और कम हो जाएगी। तो पावर कॉस्ट कम करेंगे तो कैपिटल कॉस्ट जो होगी वो कम होगी। दुर्भाग्य से हमारे यहाँ गवर्नमेंट में और डीपीआर बनाने वालों को कोई लेना देना नहीं, किसी का पैसा है, बनाओ एस्टिमेट, फिर उसको समय पे काम मत करो, फिर उसको ईओटी दो, फिर सीओएस दो। डीपीआर वाले गलतियां करता है, हम सीओएस देते जाते हैं, 100 रुपये का काम 400 रुपये में करते हैं। तो ये जो शुरुआत से लेकर जो टेक्निकली हमें परफेक्शन चाहिए, उसका आग्रह मुझे लगता है ये पहली आवश्यकता है। दूसरी बात यह है कि जो लोग इसमें नए प्लेयर्स आएंगे उनके लिए हमने 10% मोबिलाइजेशन एडवांस है, वक्त आएगा तो उसको भी कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा ताकि वो अच्छी मशीनरी ले सके। मैं आपको बताता हूँ, मैं जब मंत्री था 96 में, तो मुंबई में 55 फ्लाईओवर बने। तब रेडीमिक्स कंक्रीट प्लांट देश में नहीं, जर्मनी से आते थे। वो जो ट्रक पर जो मिक्सर आता था वो देश में नहीं था। और तब मुझे याद है कि मैंने पहली बार एमएसआरडीसी से फाइनेंस किया था। सिंपलेक्स करके कंपनी थी, उनको एक पाइलिंग मशीन को फाइनेंस किया था, और उन्होंने पहले बाहर से एक पाइलिंग मशीन लाई और वो फ्लाईओवर के लिए किया, तो मैं वो कार्यक्रम के लिए गया था। अब तो हजारों पाइलिंग मशीन हो गई। तो कभी ना कभी एक बात आप ऐसे सेमिनार में सोचो कि वर्ल्ड में सक्सेसफुल प्रैक्टिसेस में बेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी अब कौन सी है। अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव, विदाउट कॉम्प्रोमाइज विद द क्वालिटी, विच इज द बेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, ये करना चाहिए। हमारे यहाँ प्रॉब्लम है कि एक बार जो तय होता उसी मार्ग से सब जाते हैं। बोलना नहीं चाहिए पर हमारे गांव में, मैं किसान हूँ, हमारे यहाँ घर में जानवर होते हैं, तो पहला एक जानवर होता है वो एक लाइन से एक लाइन पकड़ता है, सब उसी के साथ वैसे ही जाते हैं, वो लाइन नहीं तोड़ते हैं। सरकार में अच्छा रहे कि बुरा रहे, और कोई अच्छा करेगा तो उसको पूछते तुमने क्यों अच्छा किया, क्या जरूरत थी तुमको, तुमको कोई अवार्ड मिलने वाला है क्या, जाने दो ना, पैसा ज्यादा खर्चा हुआ तो होने दो, जैसा वैसा चलने दो, कल अगर तुमने रिस्क लिया और गड़बड़ हुई तो तुम्हारे ऊपर जिम्मेदारी आएगी। वो बोलता प्रयोग मत करो, जो चल रहा है वो चलने दो। हमारे यहाँ इंडियन रोड कांग्रेस है, तो मैं उनको कहता हूँ, उनकी साल भर में एक बार, मेरे को ये बोलना ठीक नहीं होता पर मेरे से भी रहा नहीं जाता, तो वो अपने पति पत्नी और बच्चों को लेके सब सिविल इंजीनियर देश के रोड कांग्रेस में आते, और वो पीले कागज पर टाइपिंग किए हुए, वो कंप्यूटर भी नहीं प्रिंट करते, रिसर्च पेपर सबमिट करते। और एक दिन फिर थोड़ा भी रिसर्च पेपर हो गए, फिर वो रोड कांग्रेस भी कहाँ होती, श्रीनगर में होती, फिर वो सब लोग घूमने के लिए भी जाते। अच्छा है, जाना चाहिए, पर कोई प्रोफेशनल इसमें जो नॉन सीरियस अप्रोच से इतने बड़े काम कैसे होंगे। वी नीड पॉजिटिव अप्रोच, ट्रांसपेरेंट अप्रोच, क्वालिटी कॉन्शियसनेस, टाइम बाउंड डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस। डिसीजन तो समय पे लेते ही नहीं। मैंने एक हमारे बड़े अधिकारी को कहा, बड़ा आपकी तो कमाल है। बोले क्या हुआ साहब? मैंने बोला आपके जैसा व्यक्ति नहीं मैंने देखा। बोले क्या हुआ? बोला पत्नी से भी ज्यादा प्रेम आपका फाइल पर है, 3-3 6-6 महीने दबा के बैठते हो। अरे भैया, जो निर्णय करना है वो करो ना। तुमको हाँ करना है तो हाँ करना, ना करना करना, एक आदत रखो कि भाई करो निर्णय जो है पर रखते हैं। हमारे एक बड़े अधिकारी है, वो कहते हैं, उनका ऐसा है कि फाइल रख दो, ऐसा बोलते हैं इसका मतलब सेफ डिपॉजिट फंड में फाइल जमा कर दो, फाइल रख दो। We need people who can get the things done. I always telling to the officers that I like people who can get the things done. तो आप परफॉर्मेंस ऑडिट करो, फाइनेंस ऑडिट होना चाहिए, पर परफॉर्मेंस ऑडिट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन फाइनेंशियल ऑडिट। और इसका कारण जो है, हमको डीपीआर से लेकर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन तक परफेक्शन, बेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, लेस कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट और विदाउट कॉम्प्रोमाइज द क्वालिटी। और रीजन टू रीजन परिस्थिति अलग है। हिमालयन टेरिन के लिए आपको अलग मशीन लगेगी, अलग अप्रोच लगेगा। जो हमारा डेक्कन बेसाल्ट है उधर अलग टाइप के है। तो जैसा जियोलॉजी है उस हिसाब से टेक्नोलॉजी को सिलेक्ट करना पड़ेगा। और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़, अभी मेरे पास 2.5 लाख करोड़ की टनल बना है। अभी इतने टनल का काम है कि प्रॉब्लम, अच्छा हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में पैसे की कोई कमी नहीं है, मैं और 5 लाख करोड़ की बना सकता हूँ। प्रॉब्लम यह है कि कॉस्ट ऑफ द टनल इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और क्या टनल के लिए हम कोई अल्टरनेटिव निकाल सकते हैं क्या? अभी जैसे मैंने उनको कहा कि एक टनल है, उसके बजाय हम दूर से क्या कोई एलिवेटेड रोड ऐसा ब्रिज बनाकर हम उसको जा सकते हैं क्या, जिससे लैंडस्लाइड का धोखा नहीं होगा? मेरा कहना नहीं ऐसा करो मत, पर कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव सॉल्यूशन फॉर द प्रॉब्लम्स ये हमने निकालना चाहिए। लास्ट में नहीं होगा तो टनल भी बनाएंगे। अभी कंप्लीट टनल जो हुई है हमारी सरकार आने के बाद, हमने 35 टनल 49 किलोमीटर 15,000 करोड़ पूरी की है। ऑनगोइंग टनल है 69 134 किलोमीटर, ये 40,000 करोड़ की इसका काम शुरू है। और अपकमिंग टनल 74 273 किलोमीटर, इसकी कीमत 1 लाख करोड़ है। टोटल 2 लाख करोड़ की टनल अभी पाइपलाइन में है। तो काम है, पर इसमें स्वाभाविक रूप से मुझे लगता है कि कॉस्ट ये एक बहुत बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, और इसलिए कॉस्ट को कम करना ये भी आपका प्रायोरिटी वाइज एजेंडा होना चाहिए। दूसरा, जो मटेरियल वहां से निकलता है वो रीयूज हो सकता है क्या रोड में, उससे कुछ कॉस्ट बच सकती है। अभी एक दो मुझे बहुत अच्छी बातें याद आई। एक बार हमने, ये गोवा में आप जाओगे तो जुआरी नदी पर एक ब्रिज बना है, अभी पूरा हो गया, बहुत सुंदर है, 2 टावर है। तो मैं हमारे लोगों को बहुत कहा कि इसमें काम करो, दोनों बाजू में कैप्सूल लिफ्ट लगाएंगे, ऊपर में 2 व्यूअर गैलरी बनाएंगे और 1,000 रुपये का टिकट लगाएंगे। रोज 2 लाख लोग आएंगे, जहाँ से पूरा गोवा दिखता है, गोवा में आते हैं, तो टोल के बजाय इसी से पैसा वसूल हो जाएगा। पर हमारे डिपार्टमेंट वाले ने कहा कि ये अपने मैंडेट में है क्या, कैसा करेंगे, मतलब छोड़ दो। मैंने मुख्यमंत्री को बुलाया, मैंने बोला तेरे को कवाई का धंधा बताता हूँ, तो लगाएगा कैप्सूल लिफ्ट और बना ले ब्रिज, और तुम्हारे स्टेट में इस पैसे से 10 प्रोजेक्ट होंगे। अब हमारे यहाँ पैसा कमाना भी, तो इनको लगता है कि ये भी कैसे करना, तो छोड़ो। मैंने उनको दे दिया, अब उनका टेंडर भी निकला, दिलीप बिडकॉन ने लिया और काम भी शुरू हो गया। नीचे में 40 एकड़ जगह है, फूड मॉल है, और वर्ल्ड की सबसे अच्छी ऐसी साइट है कि जहाँ ऊपर जाकर आप पूरा गोवा देख सकते हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें पैसा भी निकालना पड़ेगा। और नेचुरली अभी ये जो जोजिला टनल बन रही है, तो मैंने मनोज सिन्हा जी को कहा कि ये मटेरियल फेंकने के लिए हमको काफ़ी जगह मिली है वहाँ, तो मैंने उस जगह पर रिसोर्ट, एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स करके एक बढ़िया टूरिज्म की डेस्टिनी बनाई है, और वहाँ के गरीब युवाओं को रोजगार भी मिलेगा और सरकार को रेवेन्यू भी मिलेगा। पर वो ये जो आउट ऑफ टर्न, आउट ऑफ कुछ बातें उसको समझाने में समय लगता है। पर कहीं ना कहीं हमें टनल के आजू बाजू में, मुझे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा था, हमने अभी ये कश्मीर, जम्मू से श्रीनगर तक जो बना है, जो ILFS ने टनल बनाई, कौन सा नाम है अपना टनल, जेडमोर ने चनाली नाशिरे, अब उसको एस्केप टनल 2 बनाई। अब वो एस्केप टनल अभी तक कोई काम नहीं पड़ा, और मुझे लगता है मैं जब तक जिंदा हूँ, मेरा लड़का जिंदा है, उसके पोते मेरे, तब तक काम नहीं पड़ेगा। अभी प्रिवेंटिव मेजर सिक्योरिटी का सोचना चाहिए, पर 2 एस्केप टनल बनाने के बजाय 2 बड़ी बड़ी टनल बना दो। ये इतना जो पैसे पड़ी है वो, और कहीं तो भी वर्ल्ड में एक एस्केप टनल का कंसेप्ट आया, बस एक हमारा देश गरीब है, हम इतना पैसा कर रहे हैं, एक टनल बड़ी बनाए, दूसरी 2 बनाए, लगे तो 2 ट्यूब बनाए। अच्छा, तो ये ऐसी अनेक जगह पर ये समस्या है कि हमें प्रैक्टिकल सोचना हो। और फिर उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि एक बस में बैठकर इसका एक टूरिज्म का कोई ये करके करो। क्या है कि जहाँ जहाँ कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है वहाँ इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट भी कंसिडर करनी चाहिए, और जहाँ कैपिटल लगाते हो वहाँ रिटर्न भी मिलना चाहिए, लोगों को सेवा भी मिलनी चाहिए। तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारे इस सेक्टर को पोटेंशियल है, पर बाय यूजिंग डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू रिड्यूस द कॉस्ट। और इसका एक उपाय है कि टेक्निकल और फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन को थोड़े लिबरल बनाओ। मैंने इतने NHI में लिबरल बनाया, 40% बिलो जाके काम लिए। अब इतना हो गया कि बड़े कंपनी को काम ही नहीं मिलता, छोड़ दिया इन्होंने। L&T के चेयरमैन ने मुझे कहा अब हमने NHI में काम करना ही बंद कर दिया। मैंने लगा क्यों? बोला ऐसी कंपटीशन हो गई। अब क्या हुआ है कि फिर मुझे लगा कि गलती हुई, तो मैंने बोला थोड़ा इधर आ लाओ, फिर अभी थोड़े और स्ट्रिक्ट बनाओ, ताकि बहुत ज़्यादा लिबरल हो गया। हमें ऐसा ब्रेकिंग पॉइंट निकालना चाहिए कि जो एग्जैक्टली करेक्ट होगा। कोई गैंग बनकर तैयार होके वो इकट्ठा मिलकर कार्टेल भी नहीं बना सके, और दूसरी ओर इतना लिबरल नहीं होना चाहिए कि कोई भी, आजकल हमारे यहाँ जो टेक्निकल फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन, मैं आपको दावे से बताता हूँ कि ब्यूटी पार्लर वाली दिल्ली में कोई होगी तो लाओ, मैं उसको टनल के लिए क्वालिफाई कर देता हूँ। वो एक कंपनी आती यूरोप से खरीदी करके, उसके टेक्निकल वो जॉइंट वेंचर अपना टर्नओवर देती बैंक से, कोई कैटरिंग वाला, कोई बिल्डिंग बनाने वाला, कोई किसी के लिए भी क्वालिफाई हो सकता है। वो मीनिंगलेस है। आपका जो टेक्निकल क्वालिफिकेशन की जो सिस्टम है, उसमें जॉइंट वेंचर जब अलाउ करते हैं तो एक आदमी को कुछ नहीं। अभी DPR में मुझे सीरियसली लग रहा है कि 51% फ्रॉम द फॉरेन कंपनी एंड 49% इंडियन कंपनी, ऐसा आप करना चाहिए, ताकि कम से कम स्टैंडर्ड अच्छा हो। तो कहीं ना कहीं टेक्निकल फाइनेंशियल क्वालिफिकेशन लिबरल भी होने चाहिए, पर इतने लिबरल नहीं होने चाहिए कि जिसके कारण कोई भी आए और भरे और सत्यानाश करे और टनल गिर जाए और हम दिन भर लाता खाते रहे लोगों की कि ये गिर गई। ये भी ना हो। वी नीड टू फाइंड आउट एग्जैक्टली द विच इज द एग्जैक्ट ब्रेकिंग पॉइंट। और मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले समय में बहुत इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में डेवलपमेंट हो रही। रेलवे की टनल अलग है, हमारी अलग है, और बीच में गति शक्ति आई। तो मैंने कहा हम टनल बड़ी बनाते हैं, हम इधर रोड बनाएंगे, एक तरफ से रेलवे जाएगी, एक तरफ से आएगी, तो कॉस्ट कम हो जाएगी। अभी अब जैसे मैंने हमारे यहाँ मेट्रो में एक ही पिलर पर नीचे में रोड, ऊपर में हाईवे, ब्रिज, और उसके ऊपर में मेट्रो। अभी पुणे में हमने 50,000 करोड़ के बना रहे, चेन्नई में बना रहे कि एक ही पिलर पर नीचे रोड, ऊपर में फ्लाईओवर, उसके ऊपर में फ्लाईओवर, उसके ऊपर में मेट्रो। तो अब टेक्नोलॉजी बदल गई, एकदम कॉस्ट बच गई। जो काम 200 रुपए में होता है वो डबल काम 125 रुपए में हुआ, 75 रुपीज का सेविंग हुआ। तो कहीं ना कहीं हम रेलवे और रोड टनल, इसमें भी दोनों के बीच में अगर कोऑर्डिनेशन करते हैं तो उसकी जगह रखते हैं, तो मुझे लगता है हम रेलवे के और हमारे मिलकर वो पैसे को हम दोनों शेयर कर सकते हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं कैपिटल कॉस्ट को कम करना, क्वालिटी को अच्छा रखना, समय पर काम पूरा करना, और डिफरेंट टेरेन में डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ मशीनरी को यूज करते हुए कैपिटल कॉस्ट को कम करते हुए कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव हम कैसे करें और उसमें मैक्सिमम प्लेयर्स तैयार हो, ये इस पर आप जरूर सोचिए। पर कहीं ना कहीं आप बैठकर सोच रहे हैं तो शायद आप सब लोग बहुत एक्सपीरियंस है, अनेक सालों से काम कर रहे हैं। मैं तो इंजीनियर भी नहीं हूँ, और मैं इंजीनियर बनने की भी मेरा क्वालिफिकेशन नहीं हुआ था, क्योंकि मैं जब 11th में था तो 75 में इमरजेंसी लग गई, तो मैं इमरजेंसी के खिलाफ काम करते हुए निकल गया, तो मुझे 52% मार्क मिले और साइंस ग्रुप में 49.26% मिले। वो साल ही पूरा मैं इमरजेंसी के खिलाफ ही घूमता था, तो मुझे 50% से नीचे होने के कारण मैं इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज के लिए डिस्क्वालीफाई हुआ। अब मुझे 9 डॉक्टरेट मिली, डीलिट्स मिली है, पर मैं डॉक्टर नहीं लगा था क्योंकि मुझे वही बात याद है कि मैं इंजीनियर नहीं बन पाया। पर मुझे लगता है कि आप लोग अनुभवी हो, थोड़ा सा आप सब लोगों की कम्स टुगेदर, थिंक्स टुगेदर एंड वर्क्स टुगेदर, अगर ये काम करेंगे तो बहुत बार मैं एक बात कहता हूँ कि ए नाम के व्यक्ति ने ए स्क्वायर काम किया और बी ने बी स्क्वायर काम किया, तो टोटल वर्क इज ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर। But when A and B comes together, thinks together and works together, A plus B ब्रैकेट में स्क्वायर, जिसका जवाब आता है A स्क्वायर प्लस B स्क्वायर प्लस ट्वाइस AB, एंड दिस ट्वाइस AB इज द रिजल्ट ऑफ कलेक्टिव टीम स्पिरिट। तो आप प्राइवेट सेक्टर से भी हो, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर से भी हो, तो आप जरूर स्टडी करिए और हमारे देश के विकास के लिए ये जो टनल का फील्ड है, इसमें कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव विथ नो कॉम्प्रोमाइज विद क्वालिटी अच्छे सॉल्यूशन जो अलग अलग टेरिन हमारे देश का उसके आधार पर निकाल कर अगर आप देंगे तो हमारे पॉलिसी में उसका जरूर विचार करेंगे। मैं आप इस सेमिनार को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर। ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि हमारे देश में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेक्टर का नेतृत्व आप कर रहे हैं। विदाउट एनी फर्दर एड्यू, आई वुड नाउ लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट मिस नीरजा सिंह, असिस्टेंट सेक्रेटरी जनरल फिकी, टू डिलीवर द फॉर्मल वोट ऑफ थैंक्स। Well, we have amongst us a minister who speaks his heart and who never fails to impress. Thank you, Gadkari ji, for gracing the occasion. ये जो सेमिनार आप देख रहे हैं टनलिंग, ये मंत्री की ही बोलने पे हमने शुरू किया था एंड आज हम सेकेंड एडिशन पे बैठे हैं और दोनों में मंत्री खुद आए थे। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर गाइडेंस एंड ब्लेसिंग मिस्टर गडकरी। On behalf of FICCI, it's indeed a pleasure to host all of you at FICCI today. Today's conference will bring out a lot of meaningful deliberations, and we are looking forward to identifying the key findings and submitting it to the ministry. Lieutenant General Srinivasan, Ms. Bhavani, thank you very much for being with us today. The technical expertise and strategic insights that you have brought to the table will underscore the future of tunneling in India. As they have emphasized in their speech, it will be the technical collaborations, driving the innovation, which will also bring together industry and government participation, collaboration to take this further. Lieutenant General also spoke about the industry institute partnership, because this is a new field. There's a lot of research, a lot of studies that will come into foray, and we see a lot of industry institute, government institute partnership happening in this field. So thank you very much for your time. I would be failing in my duty if I do not mention the sponsors and the partners who have contributed and collaborated with us to make this today's program happen. Thank you for your support. Lastly, on behalf of FICCI, I extend a thank you to all the participants here and wish you all great deliberations during the year. Thank you so much. Let's put a hand together for the minister once again. May I request for a group photograph, please? Ladies and gentlemen, after the Honorable Minister departs, we will just take a very quick 15-minute break and we'll start with our business session at 12:20 sharp.
विकास का अंचल बनाने में जुटा है।
बीसीटी रोड यानी बालीपारा चार द्वार तवांग रोड, जो कि अरुणाचल प्रदेश और तवांग जिले की सांस्कृतिक राजधानी तवांग की जीवन रेखा है, जो नागरिक आबादी को कनेक्टिविटी प्रदान करती है और सीमावर्ती क्षेत्र में भारतीय सेना के संचालन संबंधी जरूरतों को भी पूरा करती है। बर्फबारी के कारण अक्सर ये रास्ता बंद हो जाता था, जिससे लोगों को आवाजाही में भारी कठिनाइयों का सामना करना पड़ता था। लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में 5 साल से भी कम समय में सेला टनल का निर्माण किया गया, जिससे पूरे वर्ष के लिए सुगम और सुरक्षित सड़क की परिकल्पना को साकार किया गया। इस टनल के निर्माण से तवांग की दूरी 8 किलोमीटर कम हुई, जिसकी वजह से यात्रा का समय भी लगभग 1 घंटे कम हो गया। इस परियोजना के तहत 2 टनल आती है। टनल नंबर 1 1003 मीटर लंबी है, जबकि टनल नंबर 2 1595 मीटर लंबी डबल ट्यूब टनल है, जिसमें एक मुख्य टनल ट्यूब और एक एस्केप ट्यूब शामिल है। सेला टनल को अत्याधुनिक सुरक्षा प्रणालियों के साथ डिजाइन किया गया है। इसमें एक पर्यवेक्षी यानी सेफ्टी नियंत्रण और डेटा अधिग्रहण प्रणाली को स्थापित किया गया है, जिसे आमतौर पर स्काडा के रूप में जाना जाता है, जो वास्तविक समय के डेटा को तुरंत इकट्ठा करके विश्लेषण करता है। अन्य सेफ्टी प्रणालियों में सीसीटीवी, इंसिडेंट डिटेक्शन सिस्टम, फायर डिटेक्टर, स्वचालित फायर अलार्म, अग्निशामक यंत्र और आपातकालीन प्रकाश व्यवस्था और सुरंग के भीतर दृश्यता और गैस सांद्रता को मापने के लिए विभिन्न उपकरण शामिल हैं। अरुणाचल प्रदेश में सबसे ऊंची सेला टनल राष्ट्र को समर्पित है।
we are proceeding with the first panel discussion of the day. The first panel discussion will talk about the key trends and outlook in tunnel construction, opportunities, challenges, and way forward. I am pleased to invite our distinguished dignitaries on the session. The session chair, Mr. Dinesh Chand Deshwal, Commissioner, Railway Safety, Northern Circle, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India. May we kindly request you, sir, to join us on the dais, please. Our other speakers for the session, Mr. Rajiv Dhankar, Director Projects and Planning, DMRC, Shri Harpal Singh, Joint Chief Operating Officer, Mega Engineering, Colonel Parikshit Mehra, Tunnel Expert, Indian Army, Mr. Rakesh Ravinder Pandita, Chief Executive Officer, Lombardy, Mr. KVR Sarma, Vice President, Afcons Infrastructure Limited. Also requesting the moderator of the session, Mr. Fani Prasad Mandala Parthi, Associate Director, Transport, Logistics and Mobility, CRISIL, to come on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, given the time constraints, the session timing will be reduced to about 60 minutes. I am requesting Fani, the session moderator, to manage the time well and guide the conversations towards session objective. Over to you, Fani.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the first panel discussion in this conference. So I would like to start by welcoming Mr. Deshwal to, as the chair of this panel discussion, to speak a few words and to introduce the agenda of the day.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really feeling very good coming over here because I'm finding the all stakeholders of our infrastructure industry over here. So this is a very apt topic of the today challenges which infrastructure sector is facing. Tunneling has always been a most challenging activity in building of infrastructure. Despite the best efforts, it is not possible to completely eliminate the possibility of any failure in tunneling process because of geological surprises coming across. If we look back into the history, the tunnel construction in India is as old as the railways construction. The first railway line was laid between Boribandar to Thane in 1853, and immediately thereafter, to extend the connectivity to northeast and southeast, it became necessary to resort to tunneling in Western Ghats. In those days, engineers made these tunnels on Mumbai-Pune and Mumbai-Nasik rail alignment using hand drills and black powder as explosives, and working with rudimentary survey instruments. It was really a challenge to ensure that the tunnel excavated from both ends will meet in the center within a reasonable degree of accuracy. And now the industry has grown up to the extent where we are having the best of the technology and the state of art equipments of tunnel construction in the country, like fully computerized tunnel boring machines, robotic shotcrete machines, fully automatic drilling jumbo machines, etc. To bring in the present day technology scenario in India, large scale tunnel construction in the metro rail projects has been the biggest contributing factor, along with the phenomenal advancement in the railways and highway construction industry. Of course, power sector has also contributed a lot. bringing the technology scenario for the tunneling in the India. As the rail network extended to all over the India, the tunneling was done in Western Ghats, Deccan Plateau, and all other ranges. But until the turn of 20th century, the railway did not venture out tunneling in Himalayas. As Honorable Minister has very rightly said, that Himalaya has been a very challenge because of that reason only, the broad gauge rail network was almost non-existent in the state of Uttarakhand, Himachal, and Jammu and Kashmir. For providing reliable, sustainable transportation system to J&K, Government of India has undertaken the rail link project from Jammu to Baramulla, connecting the Kashmir Valley within the Indian Railway network. It has been a long struggle for more than 20 years to complete the rail connectivity to Kashmir Valley. The geological challenges offered by lower Himalayas are unmatched with mountains anywhere else in the world. The region is full of thrust, faults, bursts, aquifers, and landslides. Tunneling in Himalayas has some very different challenges. But now, a successful completion of Udhampur, Srinagar, Baramulla rail link project is going to be very imminent. It brings in confidence to undertake more such projects in Himalayan region. As technology now permits to go in for longer tunnels and faster construction tunnels, the trend is now to go for deeper and longer tunnels to avoid geographical problems. It is noteworthy that in the USBRL project, about 120 kilometers length is in tunnels. And we are having the longest transportation tunnel of the country of about 13 kilometer length, where a train operation is already on between the Banihal and Sangaldan. And also the another big challenge in between the Rishikesh Karnaprayag rail project, where Indian Railway PSU RVNL has been doing the tunneling through using the TBM first time. There also the longest tunnel length is going to be around 15 kilometer. So we are undertaking all challenging work in the tunneling sector. There are large number of rail connectivity projects in pipeline in hilly regions for strategic connectivity and to fulfill regional aspirations. Now the country has all the technology and expertise for construction of tunnels in Himalayas, and therefore it is natural that large numbers of projects involving longer tunnels are going to be planned in Uttarakhand, Himachal, and Jammu and Kashmir region. Although technology is in place, but capacity is still a constraint. Need of the hour is that the capacity is augmented and more infrastructure companies invest in skilled manpower and specialized machines. I would like to emphasize the few important issues in the tunnel construction. That number one is the integration at the planning stage. We have to be very conscious for the cost and value for the money has to be bring in, because at times we go for the infectious expenditures for making the infrastructure, and that will basically against the objective. As the we were have come across the many safety provisions, like the in longer tunnels, the redundant escape tunnels are being constructed actually. So can we optimize the use of tunnels by planning them for multi-purpose use, so that escape tunnel for railway may be used for regular road or rail services, rather than keeping these huge spaces vacant and only meant for rare emergencies. And for that purpose, coordination has to be done at planning stage. And the other part is the design. Designing is the single most important parameter, and for which all stakeholders need to bring in accountability in engineering consulting services. Basically, largely the planning and construction depends upon the what engineering consulting services gives the DPR and other reports. Strata geology is the single most important factor, and then there are construction practices like safety protocols during construction shall be strictly adhered. Early production assessment of strata is the key for the safety and speed. And a lot of inputs has to be given in R&D in the field of tunneling in India. There is a need for extensive studies of Himalayas and its geological features to identify the problems related to terrain. Modern non-invasive techniques to predict the stratification also need to be calibrated for Himalayan region. In recent time, large-scale tunneling projects has been undertaken involving large diameters and longer lengths, which has put in valuable experience, and in the process, large-scale experience and knowledge base has been created. Now it is the time for set up Center of Excellence for tunneling in Himalayas region, where this knowledge gained by all the government departments and the stakeholders can be concentrated and disseminated for the future projects. A task for developing best practices manual can also be undertaken before commencement of execution of the project. Extensive investigation and design detailing should be undertaken. So, through bringing in some policy changes and engineering excellence, we can focus on bringing the positive changes. And one small thing I would like to put before the stakeholders, that we can have some strategy to concentrate the details data which we have gathered for Himalayas, and how the information already available with many other departments, and we are working in silos. That railway has done the Kashmir project, where a lot of engineering has been done, lot of challenges has been encountered and resolved. And similarly, the border road is doing their work. NHI is doing the most toughest, like Jojila tunnel and all that. So all this has to be institutionalized. And now I hope this panel discussion would be a very fruitful exercise in gathering insight and experience of my fellow panelists who have great exposure of the subject matter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Mr. Dinesh Chand Deshwal, Commissioner Railway Safety, Northern Circle, under Ministry of Civil Aviation. Unfortunately, one of our speakers is not able to join, so I'll just jump into the Q&A with everyone. I will start off with Mr. Harpal Singh, Joint CEO of Mega Engineering, on the first in our set of questions to start this panel discussion. Sir, what would you say are some of the key practical site issues which are presently affecting timely completion, and how do you think the project stakeholders can plan to preempt and avoid the cost overrun issues, especially on local issues related to employment and skill shortage?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For construction of any small or big project, there are 3-4 main stakeholders. Project owners like Mr. Deswal and many other central and state PSUs or central and state government, and then consultants. Many of them are present here. Third one is construction contractor, and fourth is vendors, big or small, and then public, general public, especially local people where government is constructing projects. My experience as construction contractor is we are the most suffering people, because entire responsibility lies on us, and when we go to that project area and start doing something, then state administration, politicians of lower level or bigger level, all elected people like sarpanchis, this and that. They give us a list of people. One will bring 10 people, another man will bring, say, 20 people list. So, under duress, we have to hire them, and then this positions occupied by unskilled or poorly skilled people, it affects time, schedule, quality, safety, and overall cost of the project. So generally, all projects, especially in mountains, are facing serious delays, not only in months but in years. And most of the delays goes to the account of local people and local politicians. As the Honorable Minister said, 2.5 lakh tunneling projects are in pipeline. I would say India is 1/3 of China. In last 33 years, Chinese people, and they are our immediate neighbor, they constructed 57,000 kilometers of tunneling in last 33 years. And if we collect that data of last, say, 75 years construction of tunnels in India, I think it is less than 2,000 kilometers. So we are 1/3 of China, at least 1/3 of tunneling we could have achieved till now, and 2.5 lakh crore is nothing. It should be even more, because if we want to stop migration of people from mountains and take people there as tourists, highway, rail, and other kind of tunneling is very, very important. So Government of India and our clients present here, they should help construction contractor how to minimize employment of unskilled people under duress if they want to control the cost and time overrun for any construction project. So this is my submission, first to the client and then to the politicians. And this is over from
Thank
my
you, sir.
side.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your insightful views. The next question I would like to pose to Colonel Parikshit Mehra. He is a serving Indian Army officer, and he's been the project director for a lot of marquee projects like the Sela Tunnel and the Nechipu Tunnel projects. Sir, the question to you is on how we are adopting in tunnels the global best practices related to some proven technologies and emerging digital tools for better safety and to also to further our execution. You may please touch upon the IoT and AI based devices available and how we can embed them in our contracts so that they actually see realization on the ground.
Good afternoon to all of you. So yes, how do we get tech into tunneling is extremely important, because all of us who worked with tunnels, working in the underground space, we realize that there are so many unknowns, and the only way an engineer can deal with these unknowns is to get data. This data will come through a good exploration which has been carried out earlier with the right tools, with the right techniques first, and then when you're actually executing the tunnel, there are dynamic inputs. And it is at this time where basically a deep tunnel is what? It's a circular opening in an infinite plate. which is converging, which is trying, as you excavate, it's trying to converge. So you need to understand what is the trend of that convergence. To get that trend of convergence, we use very, should I say, simple devices like 3D monitoring targets that we pick up deformation readings from. But now to process this data, process data from these deformation targets, process data from extensometers that we have we might have inside underground structures, process data from probably piezometers or any other inputs that we get about the water conditions in the tunnel. We need to analyze as to what will the effect be as we progress our the excavation in the desired fashion. So it is there where IoT comes into play, where if we can combine all this data and then, dynamically give an input to the geotechnical engineer on site to be able to actually design his next blast, to say if he needs to reduce the size of the excavation itself. Does he need to reduce the pull length or the round length of the tunnel? Is there a requirement of reducing the supports or increasing the supports? Because that has, finally, we will do cost cutting if we optimize our supports. But what we end up doing is, a lot of times when we are not taking such dynamic inputs through technology, we end up giving templated supports and sometimes end up over supporting rocks. And a lot of times we also end up under supporting rocks where we have deformations later. We come back to, take care of these deformations. We have to stop work on the face. That leads to time delays. That leads to extra cost because reprofiling is much more expensive than actually doing a little bit extra overbreaks. So it is at these steps of when we are excavating and doing our lining works that all the inputs that we're getting from various monitoring instruments that we have inside needs to be put together and give a kind of a trend line or a kind of a picture to the geotechnical engineers on site to take the right decisions for every blast that they take every day, or for the run of the TBMs or the EPBMs that they're running. So that is where tech comes in, and that is where we can probably do more automation. There are tools available today, but not as much in our industry. I see in a lot of tunnels we don't even do the basic trend lines, where we don't even plot our deformations. So I think there's a lot that we need to do more.
Thank you, sir. And also, as a follow-up to that, if I may ask you about, if to see this to realization, do you think there is merit at the project owner level, authority level, to have some dedicated teams who oversee planning so that they can plan and budget and keep ready such projects where technology is mandatorily used?
Absolutely. See, there is something that I've really believed, that it's not only the contractor on the site. You have the authority engineer, you have few people who's supervising the tunnels, plus you have participation in the client. We must all be aware, take this reality check, that the client on the site also has a major say. It's so very important that we have people on the client side who have that kind of a background so that the right decision making can be pushed. And obviously, that is only when a client is more educated about the project, the technical aspects of the project, can we get the best tech in, at the DPR, at the initial stage, at the planning stage itself, so that the client asks for the right tools on the site. Only then will the site teams, which is the authorities engineer or the contractor at site, be able to implement a more, should I say, a technically robust project on site. Yeah. So all stakeholders need to partake in this.
Thank you, sir. The next question I'd like to pose to Mr. Rakesh Pandita, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Lombardi Engineering India, a leading engineering firm specializing in design of complex underground infrastructure. Sir, the question to you is how we can better use R&D and devise some innovative technology to enhance the quality of collaboration between the project stakeholders. Given the nuances of underground projects, are there any technology platforms where you can ensure the proper archiving of documentation, events, actions for future reference?
So at a concept level, we are talking of improving the collaboration between the stakeholders. When we talk of stakeholder, there are designers, there are contractors, there are checkers, various entities who together form the flora fauna related to a complete task, from engineering to approvals to execution on ground. So we come down to a concept of common data environment. So common data environment is a single source of information that is accessible across this entire chain of people and also in the lifetime of the project. So when we talk of design, the first part is which is quite prevalent in metros, the use of BIM. In BIM, it is quite mandatory in the metro domain to have the designs done through BIM, where we are integrating the structural design, the architectural design, the MEP designs all on a common platform. So this leads to a situation where we are not making frequent design changes as we go, and at the same time we are not doing things on in the execution phase because of errors, because everything is coordinated from day one, and this is somehow we sort the design issues very clearly. Now coming to this, BIM also can extend not just to the design phase, to construction phase, but also to operation and maintenance phase. If you structure it in that manner, that's also a possibility going forward. This is related to the design. Now I want to come to something which is more starting from the execution point and going, say, for next 100 years. These are assets built for a design life of 100 or more years, and it's not normal to have this data archived for so long, accessible to anyone who needs to access it. Data generally get lost, information generally gets lost, people move, and the data also gets diluted to that extent. So at Lombardy, while working on the Gotthard-based tunnel, we did develop a platform which was for linear projects. It was more specifically for the tunnel project, but it can be applied to any kind of a linear project, which could be a road or a pipeline. So it's a customization which is possible. So in this platform, what we offer, or what we have, is that we have a documentation module which from day one is able to archive everything that is happening on the project, which is moving from the designer to the execution agency, and which includes approval process related to that and archiving. It also captures your daily progress report. At the end of the day, you are able to capture what happened through the day in the shift reports, PPRs, quantities, as-builts. You can also manage all your correspondence, because it's not just the technical data that we are talking about. We are also talking about the contractual communications from day one. What was the tender? What was the acceptance? What was to be implemented? What happened? What correspondences came? What representations? What was the response to that? And the beauty is that this entire thing is geo-referenced. So if you have a project at some remote location, in this tool you pin down the project on a geo-reference frame, and then every aspect of that project related to that particular change can be clearly tagged. So even 50 years down the line, if you have some episode at a particular location, collapse or whatever, you can simply go down to that chainage and see at the stage of execution what was the design, what was implemented, to the extent of what rock bolts, what support class, everything is mapped into it, and whether there was a water ingress, whatever correspondences, claims, anything and everything is pinned down to the chainage level. So there is a complete traceability of events. It can also do your quality assurance, quality management aspects like generating NCRs, closure of NCRs. So in a way, this is a complete solution where you can have images of that particular chainage when you excavate or you do the lining, whatever goes on at that point in time, phase logs, everything can be mapped. So what at the end of the day, what you have is a clear-cut archive which cannot be tampered with, which can be retrieved by anybody at any stage in the life of the project, today or 100 years from now. So in all, we feel that it's a knowledge gained over a mega project over several years. It is also implemented in almost 10 locations in India, and we try to propagate this. But I think everybody has to understand, whether it's the authority or the contractor or the designer, that we need to. It doesn't have to be this. It has to. It can be anything. We need to have a system or a platform which allows us to have a transparent flow of information which can be accessed by anybody at any point in time. So that certainly will enhance the collaboration aspects related to a project.
Thank you, sir. In fact, I would like to get the industry perspective on the same topic by Mr. KVVR Sharma, Vice President Operations of AFCON Infra, who is also overseeing the USBRL projects, Panda Tokoli, among other mega projects. Sir, what would you say from the project collaboration perspective, talking about common data environment and BIM? What is the perspective on how the industry has adopted to it? Is it merely a compliance, or is it going beyond to discover its true potential?
Good afternoon to distinguished client and partners. Basically, in project execution part of view, we have to do lot of improvements, and in fact we are doing that longest railway tunnel in USBR project. So here, as per our field experience is concerned, we have to go in more detail in geological prediction system, because prediction system is very important, and day-to-day mapping of the phase logs, it will help us to predict what exactly the data than DPR. So this is to be interpreted on a daily basis, and suitable results are to be given, because the DPR gives the elaborate data, whereas in actual field, what is exactly happening, every meter of tunneling, what exactly happening. So this type of predictions are short-term predictions, long-term predictions, whereas we are doing a long-term predictions like overall geological exploration. Some of the projects we are unable to do the geological exploration due to innovative approaches and all these things. This is to be taken up on priority before starting the project, and also geological reports also to be given by the client. Some of the places, the projects, geological reports are not given to the contractor in right time and during the design stage. So it will create a lot of ambiguities. And in middle type prediction system, a lot of TSP, tunnel seismic prediction, all those things are to be implemented at site level, and client also to support, as well as DDC consultant also support the contractor. Any particular cavities happened, any deformation happening, and screeching is happening in the tunnel. So this short-term and middle prediction data is very important, and give a immediate solution with make a common team with the DDC and client and contractor, give a proper solution to avoid a long-term delay of the project. And also in short-term solution, particular cavity you are attacking. So in US where we face a lot of cavities and reprofiling also. We have done almost 2 km length of reprofiling in our tunnel. So where we have gone along with the DDC consultant, Lombardi is the consultant, we have done collaborative approach, and we are successfully completed the project. So this also will help us so much support in understanding the data and give a immediate solution. Like reprofiling is there in that enlargement of tunnel, and support change in support system, more pipe proofing and pipe profiling, all these things can be done. And second thing is BIMS system is very important. We already implemented our Bilaspur project. This will help us what exactly cycle time monitoring, and what cycle time and predicted cycle time. What is the difference? What actual reality difference is there? So these things are important to monitor and review the project completion status and monthly status, and also technical inputs are required for early completion of the project. Thank you, sir, for those views. Moving on to certain developments that have happened since last year, and I would like to request Mr. Rajiv Dhankar, Director Project and Planning from Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. Sir, if you could share your views on what has been the improvements or some initiatives that have been taken in the sense
with respect to project and project level collaborations with project authorities such as NHAI, who have signed MOUs with KRCL, DMRC, GSI for safety design, review, and maintenance. So, what has been the progress on that, sir? And have we seen any improvements or certain steps taken with those MOUs?
Right. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you for inviting me. You see, DMRC had been doing the tunneling for last 26 years. We have completed nearly 70 kilometers of tunnel, 28 kilometers still in progress, 11 kilometers is in pipeline. As on date, nearly 20 TBMs are doing their boring in Delhi. In addition, we are getting the work executed in Patna also. And in these 20 years, our DMRC design team, DMRC field engineers have, through their success and failures and their difficulties they have faced, they have accumulated enough knowledge to help guide and partner other executing agencies in doing the tunneling work. We, through these MOUs, we are doing the DMRC is doing the proof checking of the design, the quality check of the design, so that the TBM work continues unhindered through the geology. Delhi, being the Aravalli regions, has encountered hard rocks. There is a soft soil also, dumped material also. And when we are doing the tunneling through in these different stretches, the variability, the geological difficulties do face, and we have successfully encountered, met the challenge and come out. And that itself, though not very well documented in the past, but that knowledge remains with the field DMRC engineers, design as well as field engineers. That is the know-how we are extending to NHI and KRCL and other organizations. We are also learning the experience of the KRCL in the young Himalayas and enriching ourselves, so that DMRC becomes the think tank whenever any tunneling activities takes place anywhere in India. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for briefing us on the MOUs and how they have improved. And of course, there is a big incident that captured the nation's attention last year around Diwali. For about almost 3 weeks, I think at Silkyara, we had the mega extraction exercise. So my question is to Colonel Parikshit Mitra. Sir, this recent Silkyara tunnel accident, again, it has refocused the attention on tunnel safety. This was, of course, the second large tunnel accident after the Mandi one in 2015. Drawing learnings from it, would you say that any safety measures could be probably spelled out during the bidding stage so that the stakeholders are aware of what they need to undertake? And these kind of incidents can be better planned and then actioned upon.
So firstly, about the incident, what happened. But what could have been done better was probably that we could have had a better DPR, and more than that, a better contract. So we were working there, the agencies working there. It was they were working on a DPR which did not have a lot of data about the rocks that they were working with. Plus, they had an EPC contract, which is a lump sum contract. Now, I cannot put all the blame on the contractor for not putting the right supports in place when he's being paid per meter, irrespective of the supports being put inside the tunnel. Because sometimes when you do the costing and a lot of these tunnels go 30-40% at lesser than what was seen during the DPR, the contractors are forced to use supports which may not always be as per what is mandated by the ground, and they do not have the wherewithal to put that kind of supports because they are not getting the money for that for that support. So first thing that we need to do is we need to make better DPRs, and also we need to understand that tunnel supports should ideally be BOQ items so that the authorities engineer can actually instruct the contractor to put the right supports as per the ground. So that was the first thing, you know. Prophylactically, you know, we can have arrangements on the site. We obviously need to have better HSE systems inside tunnels today. You know, our HSE manuals need to be updated. Our HSE practices need to become better. We need to have some kind of arrangements for communication, which are always through once the tunnel is excavated. We need to have, you know, probably using these precast elements, which can later be converted into the LV or the HV ducts or any kind of facilities in the tunnel itself. Those precast elements can always be laid all along the line when we are tunneling. So such kind of things are now being promulgated. You know, MRTH is working on it. They will promulgate some kind of directions that will be done. But I think the root cause remains putting the right supports in the tunnel, the right time. A professional tunneling project should not have collapses like the one we had in Silkyara. And it is not only the contractor to blame, it is all the stakeholders which were involved for having not done a very great DPR, for not having done a very good contract where necessary incentive was available to the contractor to put the right supports. And then the most important thing is not doing 3D monitoring. A tunnel gives you adequate time before it collapses. You know, there is an elastic period, and then comes the plastic failure. If we are not able to catch these deformations in the elastic period, there is something wrong with the practice of tunneling on that particular site. So we need to do probably mandatory 3D deformation monitoring in tunnels, so that when we are working in tunnels and these kind of deformations are coming, we know that there is something wrong in that particular phase. And then somebody needs to declare that part of the tunnel unsafe to work till the time additional supports are not provided there. So that is the kind of, you know, mechanism that we need on sites today to prevent something like this. But notwithstanding that, you know, there's one thing that I like to bring out, which is slightly out of context with the question, is we must appreciate the effort that the government put in. I was fortunate to be part of that operation, and the maturity which was shown by the leadership of the country was really something which touched me, because the technical people on site were told to do the right thing, take their time, not feel the pressure, ensure that everything is done with the right pace, with the right measures to get the people out safe, even if it takes more time. I believe the main people here, he's part of this conference, the people who are doing the trenchless part, pipe jacking, you know, that agency. I met that gentleman in the morning today. I don't know if he's there now. So, that was a good part. And the way resources were mobilized from across the nation was really praiseworthy. It was a very good national effort, led extremely maturely by the authorities of Ministry of Road Transport. So that is something that I think we don't give the government enough credit for. It was very good of us to be able to get those people out safe. And I think as a rescue operation also, it was a fantastic effort, both technically and the way it was led.
Thank you, sir. Just want to get a quick industry perspective by Harpal sir and Sarma sir. First to Sarma sir, if you can just share your thoughts on the suggestions made. Also, we are getting some media reports that NHI is preparing an SOP for such kind of tunnel incidents for extraction of the workers. Hopefully, that should also help. But spelling out these safety measures during bids and better contract risk sharing, would you feel, sir, this will go some way in catering to the safety part? Sarma, sir?
This is regarding that safety measures come across for the tunneling job. It is come in three parts. One is the design stage, then implementation stage, and improvements also. So while design stage, particularly this particular tunnel, for example, whatever tunnel we are seeing that it is 7.5 kilometer carriage width, and it is almost accompanied by escape tunnel. Generally, we have the main tunnel parallelly escape tunnel will be a different tube. But this both the main tunnel and escape tunnel are combined in single tube with total bigger size tunnel, and the parameters for excavation methods and other how to execute it, have full heading, benching, and invert process. There are different parameters depending on the cross section of the tunnel. So some of the execution methodology also to be improvised if the cross section of the tunnel is bigger. And also when we are moving a tunnel with main tunnel and escape tunnel, the methodology of excavation also we should be more careful, particularly for tunnel support system. When the bigger is the size of the tunnel, we should implement the support system very fast as per the cycle time, as per the standards and the stand-up time of the strata. Because this particular tunnels, different tunnels have different stand-up times and different particular strata. Particularly slate, phyllites, they are very poor, and particularly in higher Himalayas and lesser Himalayas, these problems are there. We will find very poor geology. So the support system should be implemented very fast as per the standard cycle time, and we should able to implement it. And there is no cost saving will not be taken into consideration. Like if you feel that tunnel support class is 4 to 5 support class is there, it is considered to be very poor class. So there we are supposed to do roofing of the crown, basically like pipe roofing or pour polling. All these things we are to supposed to do, and also a particular tunnel when we are doing, the client to support also very much required. So even though it is a EPC contract, client also see along with the DDC whether this contract is supposed to do a higher support system, and it is becoming more costly. So it will be very important. So the present SOP published by this NHI will help us for this type of incidents, particularly Silka tunnel and all these things. The support system we can able to improvise without looking for economizing the cost and safety of the tunnel.
Atal sir, would you like to second those views?
Yeah. Role of DPR when actually construction begins is very small. We are doing all small and big tunneling projects in India by using NATM, New Austrian tunneling method. And very basic thing in New Australian tunneling method is design as you go. So the role of construction contractor and consultant like ICT in our case, let's not follow the DPR. It cannot guide. It is good for planning or cost estimate and basic things. So when construction begins, the main principal role is construction consultants and construction contractor. If they listen to each other every day after every blast, chances of tunnel collapse is zero, I can say. And as Colonel Parikshit Sani told, monitoring. Again, monitoring is the responsibility of construction contractor and consulting engineers. Those are supervising the job. So Silkiara, we already discussed, and it's very unfortunate. So we should follow what is happening in the Europe or North America. There is no dearth of technology doing tunneling in our country also. No doubt Himalayan geology is very highly fragile, but still China is also doing tunneling in a very similar ground, and maybe people in South Korea, Japan, it's not a big difference in geology. So people are facing similar kind of challenges everywhere in Asia. but some mistakes happens on behalf of construction contractor and people those are supervising. It's not the job of client, project owner. When they appoints consulting engineers, then it's their responsibility. So we should be more careful while doing tunneling. That's all.
Thank you, sir. In fact, on the part of, we should learn from the European best practices, Mr. Marcus, who is not able to make it, he shared a view that in Europe, the tunnel monitoring is done by a third party. So a third party only for monitoring post excavation. So not like a full-fledged IE, AE or a PMC, but only for monitoring. So that's an interesting food for thought. Yes. Right, sir. So that's an interesting perspective. Maybe our policymakers can look into it. Mr. Dinesh Deshwal, sir, one question for you is on the need for harmonization of tunneling contracts. There are various authorities in India who have undertaken tunnels and are planning to undertake tunnels also. Can we have a harmonized model contract for tunnels that can incorporate best practices, provisions, clauses from the contracts of various authorities and build a model contract? Sir.
This is a very good question you have raised. Actually, so far tunnel construction goes, we should have the 2-3 different set of model contract documents if we need that. The first sector, the metro construction is quite evolved, and they are able to do the detailed investigation for the purpose of tunnel construction. So their system is quite evolved, and that can be a separate sector. And similarly, the tunneling in the other mountain range like Deccan and Western Ghats can also be what we are doing over there. We can have a strategy to tackle the challenging situation of Himalayas separately, actually. Because everyone will agree that even the lower Himalaya, which the India has, is much more giving surprising geology compared to even China and other Asian countries. So we should have a separate strategy for Himalayan region, and for that purpose, we have to have a proper documentation which can be part of the contract document to have a precise contract conditions for the risk sharing between the client and the contractor. For that purpose, first of all, we have to have a proper R&D and the geological study of the area. On that basis, we can have the contract conditions can be defined so that we can precisely frame up the conditions for the risk sharing, basically. That's what required.
Thank you very much, sir. Harpal sir, would like to have your views on, in our knowledge report that we were launched today, Honorable Minister, at this event. There is a recommendation for creating a GIS-based National Digital Geotech Library, which will serve as a comprehensive digital geotech library that will consolidate all face mapping data and other GTI reports obtained from tunnel projects across the country. What would you say, sir, is the merit in this as an industry player and as a bidder?
You see, this digital library on geology and other things is, I think, very important to reduce the cost of tunneling, especially in Himalayan region. Say, I would like to highlight or tell you all, Jojila, we are doing approximate 18 kilometer of tunneling. Jojila main tunnel is 13 kilometer and approach tunnels are approximate length of 5 kilometer. And exactly at 60 kilometer away from Jojila tunnel in Gurez Valley of Kashmir, NHPC did 16 kilometer length of tunnel with TBM. So possibility of doing Jojila tunnel with TBM was very strong and very easily 400-meter tunneling per month. And that is complete excavation. With drill and blast or NATM, we are doing stage 1, then stage 2. There are a lot of risks. So we lost a big opportunity of using TBM at Jojila, and the tunnel cost, I would say, if you compare it with time, could have been reduced lot and safety improved lot. So by lacking this kind of knowledge, 60 kilometer away, one client has used TBM, and at Jojila NHIDCL plant with the NATM drill and blast. So similar kind of what we call loss of opportunities can be avoided by using digital library or some information center of geology and various construction contractors, then client, project owners, consultants, they can easily approach such kind of one point information and could plan tunneling projects in a very better and safe manners.
Right, sir. Also, a request, Mr. Rakesh Pandita, if you can share the view from the consulting fraternity on this National Digital Library, the benefits of it.
Yeah, of course, this goes back to archiving, as I was saying. So this, if we are mapping this information, if we are archiving it, it is certainly it's a gold mine of information which can be exploited by any infra project happening in the vicinity over the next hundreds of years. So it's a very good initiative if it is done, but it should be done in a proper way. Archiving is very important from existing ongoing projects. I come back to the same point that whichever tool we use, we have to capture this information, which would certainly be very useful.
Thank you, sir, for your views. Just rounding up the discussion with the last question jointly to Dinesh Deshwal sir and Rajiv Dhankar sir. This is on the point that even the Honorable Minister raised on the import dependency of critical tunnel equipment. So would you, would you suggest some ideas to overcome this, and also the specific point which also the knowledge report captures on probably devising some PLI schemes to address local manufacturing of those specific imported equipment, products, materials? First, Dinesh sir.
This is a very important area. And most of the MNPs being used for the tunnel constructions are presently being imported from other countries. And we are having a very huge work scope in our country. And it is the right time to indigenize the TBMs and the drilling machines, for which the industry has to come up, number one. And number two, to enable the grow the industry, the government policies has to be formulated, like this PLI initiatives. And but this is the need of hour actually. because now we are having the tunnel construction work being done by using TBMs, which are very costly equipment and being imported from other countries. Now we are earlier we were using the such heavy costly machines only for the smaller diameter tunnels like single line metro systems. But now we are using these large diameter tunneling also, like 12-meter or 13-meter diameter TBMs have been started being used in our country. And similarly, the many other equipments. So there is a need to go for the indigenization, for which industry should take the lead, because the first, I think, it has to be industry driven, and then the government should have the supporting initiative. Very well.
Right, sir. Raju, sir, your views, sir?
I'll look at it 2 points. One is the start with the big machine, big TBM itself. All the TBMs are imported one. Recently, we have started the India one TBM plant has come up in Chennai where TBM are getting fabricated, assembled. They need itself to have on TBM manufacturer in India so that we can have the different diameter tunnels. The need has come because as we increase the speed of the train, there's a need to increase the tunnel size, and the availability of the TBM itself for the different diameters has becomes a constraint. Secondly, all the TBM operators itself are outsiders. When we are doing so many kilometers of TBM here, then we need to develop our own expertise who can handle the TBMs and who can communicate easily with the field engineers. Secondly, these small parts like morning in the presentation, they said given the rubber gasket which comes between the segments are the imported one. Certainly, when we are developing so much of technology, sending our satellites to the moon, we can manufacture it. There is a market to it, and certainly when we develop these equipments, this small replaceable item or the fixing items, the cost of the tunneling will come down, and that will make tunnels more economical than going for viaducts, especially in the cities where the viaducts are the eyesore. If we want to have the world-class cities, we need to go for the tunneling, and indigenization will reduce the cost of it and will further develop the tunnel technology. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have time for Q&A, I think.
Fani, I would like to address one issue.
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah. There were strong remarks about the DPRs, the quality of DPRs. And the point is well taken. I mean, this sentiment echoes with most of the execution agencies, that they'll end up with information which is not relevant, which is not usable for the construction stage. So since this question comes back to the consulting fraternity, I want to say something about it. There are reasons to why things are this way. The reasons are that when we select a DPR consultant, particularly for an underground tunneling project, I mean, the criteria has to talk about the subject of tunneling. It cannot be a criteria of length of corridor. It has no relevance. It is like the same as Minister was saying, whether it's a 3-floor building or a 10-floor building, it's at the end of the day a subject. So when we don't bring the core of tunneling, then you cannot get the right amount of risk assessment done at the DPR stage. You will not get the right kind of investigation input into the reports. We see, we did some DPRs and we tried to do many more DPRs, but we many a times used to get stuck with this criteria of corridor of the length. Tunnels are what, 6 kilometers, 10 kilometers in India, longest would be Rohtang or Chenani. That's the extent. And how many companies would you find in this market who would have met that kind of a criteria? So, and the length per se doesn't matter unless it's a matter of designing the ventilation system. Length would reflect in that manner. And there again, there is a challenge. We have recently seen a very, very large project tendered out for civil execution without the ventilation basis defined. It's kind of left open. You could go with shafts, you could go with any kind. It's ambiguous. So it will come later on. Obviously, it will have implications in terms of cost because this was not factored. We are just talking of a bore at the moment. Then, as a consulting entity, when we are doing jobs which are DPR with investigations, then you come down to hiring the investigation agency, and then you realize you get priced out just because you had an investigation value into your bid, which was maybe 2 times or 2.5 times of your competitor's investigation agency. So there has to be a clear-cut criteria about the investigation agency working on the job. You can't have the same investigation agency doing investigation for a road project or a bridge foundation and apply that skill set onto a tunneling environment. It doesn't work like that. It is very different. Mr. Rana knows inside out about things. So these are the kinds of challenges. And then the global picture, what do we spend on investigations? Internationally, a infra project of the size and scale that we are talking of in this country today, 2,000 crores, 5,000 crores, 10,000 crores, internationally, the investigation costs are 1 to 2%. 1 to 2% is not even the number that we discuss for the entire DPR, all inclusive. It is not even reaching 1%, 0.25, 0.5. And what do you do in this environment when you're doing a competitive bidding? You can't bring your knowledge, you can't bring the skill set, you can't bring the risk assessment, and everything is just a replication of information from one DPR to other. And then the contractor are left to fend for themselves on ground. And then we have hazards, then we have issues, and then the DPR consultant is on the dock. So these are some issues which I think we need to, as the minister said, technical competence is first when we come to such projects. So if there could be a way of at least bringing in 5149 that he was saying, that would be a very good move. This happened a decade back when we were talking of USBRL. Lots of international companies came in. It took longer, but at least in 10, 12 years, the USBRL stretch is done. Rishikesh Kanpriya would be done in next one
Right,
and a half, 2 years. So
thank you.
we have
No, that was a good perspective. And in the interest of time, I did not actually belabor the point. But yeah, please.
Thank you so much, speakers, and for a very enlightening session. May I please request you all to rise for a group photograph? We are short of time, otherwise we could have taken the questions. But we can take them outside during the lunch. Thank you. May I please announce that there's no break in between and we will immediately begin the next session. Please allow us a couple of minutes to make a quick session changeover. the second session for the day, Innovation in Technology, Equipment and Materials. The session will explore the forefront of tunneling technology, focusing on advancements in tunnel and boring machines and cutting-edge tunneling technologies. And since, of course, we are waiting for our panelists, I would like to please invite our distinguished dignitaries on the stage to please join us. Mr. Anand Kumar Singh, Director Projects, Orcon International Limited. Mr. A.K. Nanda, National Manager, Geotechnical and Structural Monitoring, IoT, AIMI Limited. Dr. Ajay Kumar Jha, Chief Executive Officer, Next Gen High Tech, Fibrous Pair Systems. Mr. Abhijit Majumdar, Director, Engineering, PT India. And we also have joining us virtually Mr. Andre Arroyo, Director, Business Development, Emerald Geomodeling. Hello, Arroyo. Mr. Andre, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Request the moderator for this session, Dr. Sanjay Rana, Managing Director, Person Overseas Private Limited, to come on the dais. Thank you so much, panelists, and over to you, Dr. Rana. I'm sure you'll be managing the time well and guiding the conversation through the session objective. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. All right.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sanjay Rana. I'm Managing Director of Parson Overseas Private Limited, as introduced already. I'm honored to be moderating this particular session, which is Innovations in New Technology, Equipment and Materials. So thank you all for joining us today. It's a wonderful day, and we really look forward to a very enriching discussion here. And special thanks to all the distinguished panelists who will be sharing their valuable insights. So we all know that tunneling is at the heart of modern infrastructure development, from urban transit systems like DMRC we were discussing earlier, to tunnels for railways, tunnels for roads, tunnel for even for energy and water when we are talking of hydropower projects, etc. So, and the rapid technological advancement that has been taking place over the years and decades is actually remarkable. There are a lot of new technologies which have come. There are a lot of changes which are happening. So today we will delve into some of the most cutting-edge advances in equipment, technology, and material, areas that are crucial not just for enhancing efficiency, but also for ensuring the long-term sustainability and safety of our underground projects. So this is a very, very important discussion we are going to have. Personally, I'm a geophysicist, and my focus is always on investigations. So whenever I hear about things like challenging geology of Himalayas or geological surprises during the execution, I feel a little restless. Why I feel restless is that we hardly are doing investigations which can be called adequate. As in the earlier session, there was one point which was made by Shri Pandita, that the amount of money we are spending on DPR preparation is even lesser than what the money should be spent only on investigations. So we are not doing enough investigations for sure. And as an industry, as a community, we need to accept that fact. Today, for example, in this particular session, we will have Mr. Andre. He'll be talking of one particular aspect of geophysical investigation, which is very promising. He'll be talking of heliborne time domain electromagnetic. There are other techniques also. For example, personally, we are using technique of passive seismic tomography very successfully in oil and gas exploration. Same technique of passive seismic tomography can be used to investigate up to depth of 10 to 12 kilometers. That's what we are doing in oil and gas exploration. For tunneling projects also, we don't need that much of depth in tunneling project, but sometimes overburden can be 1.5 kilometers and things like this. But passive seismic tomography is a tool which can be used for this to create a good geomodel of the subsurface. As we were talking about creating a library of data, library of data is insufficient if you're just relying on, let's say, bore logs. You need continuous information, which these kind of tools can deliver. What is required is, for example, through this particular forum to FICCI, I would very strongly recommend that you should be talking to minister and the ministries, that there should be a new technology group which should be formed. And whatever new technologies are coming up from anywhere in the world or from India, this group should look at these technologies, put some pilot projects on the ground, and if the results are encouraging, then these technologies should be adopted in the tunnel projects. That's the only way it can be done. Anyway, so before we begin our discussion, I would like to introduce our esteemed panelists one by one. Mr. Anand Kumar Singh, he's the Director of Projects at IRCON, who brings extensive experience in managing large-scale tunneling projects across India. His expertise lies in the practical application of tunneling technologies and overcoming the challenges associated with them. So welcome, Mr. Anand Kumar Singh. We have with us online Mr. Andre, he is the Director of Business Development and Emerald Geomodeling, joining us virtually. He specializes in geotechnical innovations and the Heliborn time domain electromagnetic method, in particular, integrating AI and ML to create a much more realistic ground model. So welcome, Mr. Andre. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You. And then we have Mr. A.K. Nanda, another very, very experienced panelist here. He is National Manager for Geotechnical and Structural Monitoring, IoT at AMIL Limited. Mr. Nanda is known for his work in advancing IoT-based monitoring solutions for geotechnical applications, especially in tunneling. Welcome, Mr. Nanda. We have Dr. Ajay Kumar Jha with us. He is CEO of NextGen of Fiber Terrace Systems. He is leading product development in areas of structural health monitoring domain applicable to any asset, civil projects to industrial applications, using state-of-the-art smart and intelligent monitoring technologies, working on Industry 4.0, applying AI techniques and advanced data analysis for various industrial applications. Welcome, Dr. Jha. And we have Mr. Abhijit Mazumdar. He is Director of Engineering at Hilti India Limited. Hilti India brings specialized expertise in innovative fastening and cutting solutions for tunneling application. His work is pivotal in enhancing the safety, efficiency, and durability of tunneling operations. Welcome, Mr. Mazumdar. So in today's session, we will delve into several key themes that are shaping the future of tunneling, guided by the expertise of our distinguished panelists. Our discussion will be structured to allow each panelist to share their unique insights on these topics, followed by an interactive exchange where panelists can engage with each other's option. I encourage all of you to actively participate, and we will allocate time at the end for audience questions. The duration of this session was 75 minutes. It has been cut down to 60 minutes now. So we will dedicate first 45 minutes for the panel discussion, and 15 minutes religiously will be there for audience. So even if we get little less time to speak, we must take the questions from the audience. That's the spirit of a panel discussion. So for panelists, each of you will be asked 2 to 3 questions related to your area of expertise. Please aim to keep your response concise, ideally around 2 to 3 or maximum 4 minutes per question. This will allow us to cover all key topics and ensure that each panelist has ample opportunity to contribute. If there are follow-up questions, etc., then we'll look into that. And last 15 minutes, as I said, we'll give it to audience. So with this detailed introduction, let's welcome them first of all with a round of applause, all the panelists here. Yeah, and this is for you also, for the wonderful audience who have been here throughout the first session. It's almost lunchtime, but you decided to attend this session also. So great, you are a great audience. So let's start with Mr. Anand Kumar Singh from IRCON. And my first question to you, Mr. Singh, is that with your extensive experience in managing large-scale tunneling projects, what do you see as the biggest challenge in the practical application of tunneling technologies in India? So what are the major challenges you look at? How have these challenges evolved over time, and what innovative solutions have you found most effective in addressing these challenges?
Yeah, thank you. With the permission of the chair, first of all, I thank Vicky for organizing such a important event when the country is at the cusp of, increasing its infrastructure, where tunneling in the regions which were not yet entered, tunneling is going to play a major role in expansion of logistics all over the country. And the question is very good to start with. Now, tunneling, as we see, is an interaction between the experts and the tunnel that is there. So it is like you go to a place, make yourself comfortable, and then you settle down and make a home. So tunneling, the same way I also feel, that in India, in the nascent geology, tunneling is a big challenge. We have to understand the ground where we are going to work, and the emphasis what Dr. Rana has said, probably if we do more of investigations in the DPR stage, our entire problem in the course of execution of 2, 3, 5 years, which run into decades, will certainly be mitigated and controlled, and we'll be very predictably be executing the project. So first of all, I find that DPR is one stage where maximum investments, maximum time shall be given so that you know what you are going to face in the times to come. And our geology, contrary to, the other geologies where tunneling has been very successful, is much more challenging. We do not know as to what lies ahead of, say, 100 meters very, very predictably. So today, the first challenge that lies is that how good we can predict the tunnel, the place where we are going to work. And once we understand that, probably then tunneling with all the adjustments becomes a much easier, predictable job. Success of tunneling and the understanding of experts comes when you see the surprises that they face. Those sites which have no surprises, even the progress is slow, you don't mind. You shall not mind. But if there are no surprises or the surprises that are to come are already taken care of, that is what I'll say is the good tunneling. Now, observations, by certain measuring systems, which is evolving. Earlier we had blast, was feeling the pulse back and knowing what kind of things now we are doing. Now we have seen in the field that there are certain, recently I came across one TSP method, so of course, a proprietary item, but we have seen that in my tunnels, especially, we are doing a very major about 40 kilometers of tunnel in Sikkim area, Gangtok. That is a very bad this thing. We have seen that TSP has been giving us really an insight, and we know what is going to come. Where is the water body? What is going to be the migration of the geology? What are going to be the surprises? Where is the fault? Where are the fissures? Where are the loose zones? And I'll appreciate my team and the entire people we work with, that they have been able to cater to change immediately to the tunneling challenge and entire protection, entire stability, entire safety, the pace and everything to what is going to be there. So today I feel the emphasis, I think I have gone long, but I feel that if you also must be finding it, that if we spend so much of time just knowing what we are going to face, what is lying ahead of me, then it is a sitter. Then tunneling is not an issue. You have no surprises. And some of the new technologies that we are going to discuss only give us continuous, like today in the topic we have distributed fiber optical systems. So it is kind of a live feedback coming from the entire ecosystem where you're going to work. So the energy comes back, it tells you that between the interaction of the soil masses ahead, what kind of rock is there, what kind of discontinuity is there, what kind of energy absorption is there, what kind of polarization is there, what kind of phase is changing in the optical fiber system. So you will very predictively get continuous feed, and then you move on to the next thing, that is AI, machine learning, then you are doing Internet of Things. So you kind of develop an invala. It's a 3D visual scene where you know what you're going to face. And then, then you can handle it, I'm sure. So the basic thing that I always say, that Mr. Rana probably was focusing in the question is, we have to work here. Tunneling then becomes a much easier thing and we can handle it very easily. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's actually so correct that as we say geological surprise, right? I always say geological surprise is nothing but a situation you did not anticipate because you did not investigate enough. So this geological surprise has become a phrase for most of us in the engineering community. And our aim should be to reduce these geological surprises by proper and adequate investigations. And when we are talking of investigations for a tunnel project, as Mr. Singh very rightly mentioned, it should start before even you plan your alignment. That is the first step of investigation. Then you have finalized the alignment, you have done a detailed investigation from the ground, and now you're tunneling. At the time of tunneling, the technologies like TSP comes in very handy. There's technology of beam which is coming very handy. Even GPR is being used in many countries for that. So now I'll go to the next panelist who is going to talk about what we can do before we even plan the tunnel, right? What is the right alignment? What are we going to face along that alignment, etc. So he's Mr. Andre. So Mr. Andre, you are an expert in geotechnical innovations, particularly with the heliborne time domain electromagnetic method. Could you share how integrating AI and machine learning is transforming the creation of ground models for tunneling projects? You can also elaborate a little bit on the technology itself, how it is helping the tunneling project, and what impact do these advancements have on the accuracy and safety of the tunneling operation. So I hand it over to you, Mr. Andre.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sanjay. On a quick check, can you hear me well?
Yeah, perfectly all right. You are
Okay.
looking great. You are sounding great. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm quite impressed from since the first panel, and of course the years that Emerald has been in India, and see how much the discussion about innovations it's important in the country. But I saw the first panel that the speakers said about the problem is the timeline, and of course the geological risk that come up with the projects. And this is two situations that disturbed any kind of tunneling projects. But of course, we need more investigations, as Sanjay highlighted so much now. But to do more pre-investigation, normally we do, okay, let's do more field tests on the work. But this, when we do millions of drillings, millions of different tests, take more time to solve the project, and people prefer to not do pre-investigations and decide to go to the constructions. This I'm not talking about India, I'm talking all over the world. Emerald is a Norwegian company, but we have been doing projects all over the world. So this is the disruptive technology that we developed in Norway, that okay, we need to have more data, we need to have more information, more pre-investigations, but how not to use artificial intelligence, some machine learning algorithms to deliver the results. So we have been many companies working with the geophysics, creating models, but at the end, for us, that like me, it's a geotechnical engineer, we don't see the clear results only with the geophysics. There is, for sure, but when we can integrate the geophysics models with data from the field, definitely is the breakthrough innovations that can change the industry completely. And here I'm not talking only for tunneling. Also for because tunnel not only the final or the start point of a project. We have all the railways, all the highways that can use the same technology. In a short view, I would like to share only 3 slides. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Not till now. Not able to see your screen.
Okay. Yes, probably in some seconds. Yeah. But even without the sharing the screen, I think the most important discussion is when we have the geophysical models that electrical resistivity is simple, that India has been done all over the country. This gives general information, where is like high resistivity and low resistivity. And this, there is a lot of insights for us when we use this. However, when we connect drillings with the resistivity models, there is a high correlation between these two numbers, two data, and we can create a 3D models. And these 3D models, we can split where you have sediments, where is different type of sediments, where is clay, where is sand. We can share where is different mechanical resistance, where is high competent materials, low competent materials, where is the interface of rock, and everything doing this in a short time. I'm giving an example that we developed a project in Brazil that it was around 100 kilometers of railway, and we did all the studies, all the 3D models in 3 months. Connected the drillings with the resistivity models, and they created the 3D models. This the customer could reduce at least 30% of the new drillings for the next campaign. So see the difference that if you can do data cover, full data coverage in the project, and also reduce costs on the drillings, and mainly bring the project in advance, so you can reduce the timeline of develop the project. So it's the 3 connections that I think is perfect. You have more data, you have more information, you have less lack of data, and you can deliver the project in less time. So I think the Indians in the correct way to reduce the risks, but be more efficient how to develop tunnels and the railways and highways projects. Thank you, Sanjay.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. It was a very insightful discussion, and it's actually highly appreciated when you convert these geophysical models. See, geophysical models are understood by geophysicists, right? Resistivity values, seismic value, etc., etc. So the effort which they have put into by translating these geophysical models to geomodels, that is earth models, by combining with the drilling data and using AI and ML, and over the period of time, keep refining this also from time to time. So it's a wonderful thing. And we'll come back to you, Mr. Andre, very soon for the next question. So now I'll move on to Mr. A.K. Nanda. So Mr. Nanda, with the increasing reliance on IoT-based monitoring solutions in tunneling, could you explain how these technologies are helping the tunneling operations? What are some of the key benefits and challenges associated with implementing IoT solutions in such critical infrastructure projects?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks, Vicky, for the opportunity. And with the permission of the chair, this is a very important subject and very close to my heart, because I've been involved in instrumentations since 3 decades, and especially tunneling. When DMRC phase 1 started in 2000, I was transferred from Chennai and started with project MC1B and 1A. Okay, and then the most important thing, everybody is doing instrumentation in tunnels. But the problem is this, as you know, that cabling is very, very difficult in tunneling, So best thing is to try not to transmit the data from the suppose you have a section where you install stresses, strains, loads, strain gauges, extensometers. Transmit the data from there itself, from the, there are, LoRa-based node. LoRa means low range, low power, high frequency, high range. These are, we represent world sensing Spain word number 1 in the world for transmitting IoT devices. IoT means Internet of Things. See, there are, nodes which can accept whether it's a voltage signal, frequency signal, displacement, and MEM signal, strain signal. So transmit the data from that section itself through a 5-channel or 8-channel node to the portal, tunnel portal. See, there is a gateway which is very powerful, and you don't need any, cable, etc. If the tunnel is nearly straight, maybe about 90% straight, so one gateway, up to 4 kilometers, you can easily monitor data. In case it is required, you can use a repeater on the way, in case it is required. So, see, the gateway is very powerful. That has got a 4G modem and Ethernet port. Suppose you don't have, that mobile signal there, you can very well use the Ethernet section and transmit the data over fiber optic cable to long distance and reconvert it again, give it to a server, wherever you can go. So we've been trying in many projects now. This is the need of the hour in foreign countries. Every project, tunnel monitoring project, we're using IoT devices. And IoT is in tunnel monitoring, there are many things. This is only one application. The other application, which I'll cover in second or third question. So this is best is to use the data from the same segment. See, on the same section at the walkway, you will have a 5-channel or 8-channel node. And the beauty is that those nodes are having batteries which can run for 5 to 10 years. You don't need any power. And those nodes will power in turn the stressors and strains, maybe load cells, stressors, strain water, maybe whatever instrument you have on the ground. And See, the powering is done by the node, which has got a battery, and the battery in case required easily replaceable in 2 minutes time. So you transmit the data from the tunnel section to wireless. The frequency used is 866.1 megahertz, which is license free with silver lining in India. So there's no question of licensing issue at all. When the data is faithfully received at the gateway, and you can also monitor your tunnel portals where you use in-place inclinometers or you use piezometers, etc. Because cabling again very difficult to portals. So you can again use these IoT devices to monitor, to transmit the data to the gateway. One gateway and one portal. Maybe maximum you can have 2 gateways. And if you use a data logger, it is much the IoT solutions are much cheaper and more reliable. And the only challenge is what you said. Maybe sometimes there are some tunnel. I was talking to the director in RVN and especially Rishikesh Kanpura project. So I discussed with him. He was happy with the solution, but he said many tunnels they got so many curves. So there maximum you can have 3 or 4 repeaters, not more than that. So that was a little bit of challenge those tunnels. But all those tunnels which are 2, 3, 4 kilometers long, even 6, 7 kilometers long, you can very well use. You can use. You remove the cables once for all and use the devices to transmit data faithfully.
Thank you, Mr. Nanda. So there are solutions which are absolutely can be implemented easily, and we can have a very regular monitoring of what we are looking for. Now, once we are talking of monitoring, I'll go to the next panelist, who is Dr. Ajay Kumar Jha. So, Dr. Jha, my question is that DFOS is becoming a buzzword in structural health monitoring, especially in tunnels. Could you elaborate on the key advantages of using DFOS over conventional instrumentation in tunnel monitoring? What specific challenges does DFOS help to address in this context?
Thank you, Chair Dr. Ranan. Thank you, Vicky. I'll just, DFOS, of course, currently has become a new word because DFOS is a class of technology into which DS, DTS, DSS, now DTSS of 2 types, time domain and frequency domain, all are falling. I'll just touch base quickly with the limitation of time. I will address that currently the tunnel monitoring is done really gainfully and effectively by all the tunnel owners. But you will appreciate that lot many instruments are sourced by many vendors. It could be load shell, strain gauges, strain rosettes, borehole extensometer. So number of instruments are sending the data to a data acquisition system, whether using Wi-Fi or it could be LoRa, it could be Zigbee, or maybe this a dedicated fiber optic cable. But what happens? These instruments are working in the most adverse conditions in the tunnel. So they start losing the sensitivity over time. Let me honestly tell you that we have done this study. We found that after 2 years, it has almost lost the sensitivity to the tune of 15 to 20%. Now, you have no scope to go for calibration because these all instruments are in situ. So how do you go for calibration? Third thing happens that in the real life tunneling monitoring condition, you are having the practical problem of EM radiation, magnetic field, electrical field, lot of vibration. So you need to have a system. Moreover, if you look for the accuracy of the systems, they are in millimeter. Fair enough. All civil engineers who are doing great right now, they are okay with this, the millimeter of accuracy. But if you get this accuracy in microns as an early onset of deformation measurement, you are much ahead in terms of understanding how your tunnel is going to behave. Now, coming forward, what is the solution? DFOS is going to address to the problem of that you can address to the issue of drop-in sensitivity because there is no drop-in sensitivity. You are using primarily light wave. You don't need any calibration. It is totally exempted from all EM radiation. It has got no impact of electrical field, magnetic field. So you are not. Moreover, if you look for the accuracy is falling in the category of microns. So 1 micron is 1 by 1000 millimeters. So you get the information too early. So you have a sufficient time. Moreover, under DFOS, deformation is always getting connected to the leakages or your fire issue. So we are having 2 sensing cable, one for monitoring. Now there are a lot many data coming that, load shell, pressure, all these things. How do you combine to one data? So you will see that the first trigger for all this deformation is strain. If you monitor one parameter, you can very well convert a strain to stress, load, pressure, whatever you. So in long-term monitoring, so we are using one interrogator for monitoring 50 kilometer of tunnel or any structure. So we call it as a structural monitoring tool, but I'm limiting to only tunnel right now. And apart from that, you are also trying to get the leakages in formation of fire. You can also try to find out temperature compensated strain, like suppose places like Uttarakhand, with the limited information or knowledge I'll say, you are having a lot many impact of thermal strain. So you can exclude the thermal strain from your mechanical strain that is purely coming from the structure. And I'll just say the last line to pitch on. There's a need to go for distributed fiber optic sensing using DTSS. That means you get both strain and temperature by one tool. In this, there are two categories, time domain. So you very well know that time domain, you cannot eliminate noises to the tune of, you will have noises 20, 25%. So we could make a frequency domain-based interrogator where we can easily say, with an example to you, not a code like a sales code. You have radio right now. Radio used to have a lot many noises because it was amplitude and intensity driven time domain system. Now you have FM radio. It's free from noises. It's 99.1. The same technology has been used in building this interrogator. It is 99%, noiseless or noise free. So that was the just a beginning to create an awareness. Thank you.
That's wonderful, Dr. Shah. Definitely. Once you get into frequency domain, you can get rid of a lot of noises and your measurement accuracy and resolution can improve a lot. Thank you for sharing that thought. Now I'll go to Mr. Abhijit Mazumdar from Hilti, India. So Mr. Mazumdar, tunnels have a lot of utilities. Like we have cable trays, pipes, etc. that run along the length of the tunnel. How do we ensure that these utilities are fixed and held in place properly?
Thank you so much, Dr. Rana, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Today we learned that for the development of the country, tunneling as a process is very important. And as important is the tunnel, so important are the connections that go inside the tunnel so that the tunnel also runs and functions properly. As rightly said, there are cable trays, ducts, all these things running inside the tunnel, which need to be supported well. Now, are we also looking at applications where you expose these connections to fatigue, dynamic loads, seismic loads? So today there are systems available where all these things can be designed in the right way as post installations, since you have segments inside the tunnel, and after that maybe the connections are to be done. So there are systems available today where these can be designed, let's say for 50 years, 100 years. They can be designed for the right class of corrosion, using high corrosion resistant bolts, stainless steel anchors, high in, let's say, molybdenum, chromium, and those kind of noble metals. And also when we do these kind of installations, you also need to be sure that they would stand the test of time, let's say for 100 years, and also over a period of time after being exposed to fatigue, they would not loosen up. So there are systems which can be used to ensure that all the nuts, bolts are properly tightened with the use of proper cordless tools. I understand when tunnels are being made, it's difficult to, let's say, all the time get the electricity right up to that level. So there are now cordless tools available that can be used to install these bolts in the right way and also ensure that they stand the test of time. They do not loosen out over a period of time and also carry the right loads. If that answers the question.
Definitely it does. Thank you very much for sharing this. And with this, we'll go for the next round of questions. And now we are left with around 13 minutes for our discussion, because last 15 minutes are reserved for the audience. So let's keep our answers short, and so that we can take this round and maybe another round if it is possible. So first, I'll again start with Mr. Anand Kumar Singh. So with the evolution of tunneling equipment and techniques, how do you see the role of technology in shaping the future of underground construction projects? So we have been talking about technology since morning, and this panel is talking of different technologies. So are there any emerging technologies or equipment that you believe will completely revolutionize the tunneling practices in the coming years, which you might have come across and you feel it has a great potential? Mr. Singh.
So, yeah, there are a lot of new things which, if used very perfectly, is almost increasing the efficiency by about 100%. Like the jumbo boring machines that we have, We are seeing it, which is like increasing, I mean, decreasing the cycle time by about 20-30%. Just, I mean, you have to deploy 2 workmen, that's all, and that is going to be very good. And it has very deep penetration. That is one thing I have seen. Then automatic placement of LGs and girders in the support through trolleys, that is something. Then the next challenge that is coming is in to do expeditious lining, because mining we keep, I mean, it takes a lot of time, but when it comes to lining, I mean, that is one thing where a lot of mechanizations are required, and it is taking time, a lot of these things. So they are telescopic frames, which with double shutter, triple shutter, they almost kind of are doubling efficiencies on our projects. So I think uh, with the traveler, I think that is one this thing I have found very very effective, where the multiple this thing in telescopic fashion are increasing the lining placements, as he said, is almost getting mechanized by small, all kind of, bolt placement, rock placement. So see the beauty of tunneling and the progress that we are saying. Once we have a forecast of what we are going to do, then probably optimizing or minimizing the cycle time is where all these technologies come in play. And there is in every facet, whether it is core polling or whether it is bolting, rock bolting, whether it is placing of LG, placing of anything, short treating, anything. We are seeing that there are a lot of instruments, there are a lot of technologies which, if put to use, are kind of increasing the cycle very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So basically, that's what it comes out from any such discussion, that there are technologies which are available practically to overcome any challenge which we might face. Finding a challenge itself is a big challenge, right? So first of all, we should know what challenges we are going to face. And once we know the challenges, practically any condition can be taken care of. For example, you know that there is a water lens coming in front of you, or some fracture mass is coming in front of you during TBM. You can pre-grout it and things are simple. The problem is when we encounter something which we did not anticipate, and that comes to us as a geological surprise. So wonderful thoughts here, Mr. Singh. Thank you very much. And now I'll come to Mr. Andre again. So you have talked about your method, TDM, and advanced modeling technologies, which are very innovative. Now, what are the other developments you see in the near future? Like how these technologies are going to evolve in near future in terms of improved accuracy, improved safety, faster workaround. So your views on that, Mr. Andre.
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions. Yeah, we see nowadays that the technology to using geomodeling, connecting drillings with the field data with resistivity model, it's quite advanced, and also we need to implement this all over the world in develop more projects. But of course, nowadays we have to use the helicopter yet to do the survey, as the equipment weight around half a ton, and this take time to do. What I believe in the future soon, all this technology will be fit in a drone. So we are in a research and development project founded by European Union, and the equipment nowadays can be set around 60 kilos. But yeah, we are developing the technology to drone, and we believe that in the future soon, I mean around 2-3 years, not more than that, it will be all over the world, and we can do the survey, even for construction, building a small place, only one bridge. You can use the same technology that we can use nowadays for long projects. So I think the geophysics plus geotechnical together using machine learning, we can revolutionize how we can pre-investigate any kind of projects all over the world. So it's like putting the technology in drones. It will be the future for the method that we work.
That would be great, actually. Like if you don't have to really put it on a helicopter platform and you can do it with drone, because a lot of focus is there on drone technologies. Many geophysical methods have gone to drone like GPR, magnetometers and things like this. And your time domain also going there would be a great thing. So we look forward to that. And all our support is with you. If you need any help from our side, we are always there as an industry to help you in that. Okay, thank you, Andre. And now my next
Thank you.
question is for Shri A.K. Nanda Sahab. So Nanda Sahab, I would really like you to elaborate a little bit on application of IoT in TBM tunnels. That's one. And an additional point, especially the application of these techniques when we are talking of a very critical issue of convergence in tunnels, right? So these two aspects, you can briefly cover, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll start with the TBM lining integrity monitoring. In India, which hasn't started yet, is about to start. We got some requests from IRCON and from Chennai Metro. So not for IRCON, from RVNL and Chennai Metro, where the TBM was to pass through shear zone and the P-class segment. They had some problem in that because they didn't want to, they wanted to monitor stresses and strain, but the new technology is to use the stresses and strain when in the pre-cast segment in the yard itself, when the segment is being constructed, you can put the stress and strain meter in the reinforcement along with the wireless data logger. That's all inside IoT data logger inside the segment. And when the TBM starts, they can place the segment automatically one by one, and the cutter head, there's a gateway at the cutter head. So all this information on stresses and strain will be directly communicated to the gateway. It is initially it will be 400 meters, but it can go up to 4 kilometers. So this is very important. Currently in India, they are monitoring in the Rishikesh Kanpriya project. I think they are monitoring manually, but there is a lot of delay. And to avoid the delay, the new technology is to embed the sensor with the IoT data logger itself, wireless data logger in the segment itself, and place the segment one by one. And the data automatically goes to the gateway, and from gateway you can have GSM and fiber optic, you can go anywhere in the world. Now, with regards to convergence monitoring, everybody is aware about convergence rules in tunneling. It's very, very important. We've been monitoring with the help of target, proven target, bi-reflex target, and with the help of a total station. But the new technology says no total station. We'll use laser convergence. We've got a 3D wireless tilt meter along with optical displacement sensor. Maybe every 15, depending on the geology, you can have 50 meter apart, 30 meter apart. You can monitor the ground settlement automatically with help of displacement and tilt. And the data is conveyed to a gateway. Gateway is kept at the portal, depending on the length of the tunnel. So this we are trying in India now also, but abroad, in most of the tunnels are being monitored with a laser tilt. Because first of all, robotic total shows are very expensive. And this the gateway is hardly for 4 to 5 lakhs. And one gateway is enough to monitor your 100 to 200 points to monitor laser tilt. One more point, of course, I will get a chance for another 2 minutes later on now. Next time. Okay, so one more thing is very important. We make so many tunnels now. See, we do instrumentation tunnels, but see now the concept we got inquiries from RVNL to monitor the final lining. In the final lining itself, we can embed, stresses and strain with the help of IoT sensors and transmit the data. When you're giving your tunnel to authorities like railways, others, they will have no information on the tunnel which are passing through shear zone and fault zones. This is the only way. In fact, I had discussions with the directors of RVNL also. They were very much interested in this technology. I think I am approaching BRO also, as we're doing some single tunnel, some other projects also. So this will be very useful long-term monitoring of tunnels using IoT.
That's great. This particular part I'll discuss in lunch with you. I don't want to take time here. Yeah, sure.
I thought I would not get time.
Yeah.
You won't give me time.
So coming to Dr. Jha again. So moving beyond the basis of defaults, could you discuss the methods of mounting the sensing cable within tunnel? For example, in scenarios where the cable might be cut and splicing is not feasible, how does this impact the monitoring system? What solutions are able to maintain monitoring continuity in such cases? And also you can, just briefly deliberate on what kind of cable is it? It's a natural telecom cable or some special kind of cable which we are using, right? So these are the 2 points which I'd like to elaborate.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dr. Rana. Mr. Just be very precise telling the sensing cable is of type fiber optic. but it is not a telecom grade cable. This cable is a specially designed cable where it is able to detect two things very precisely: strain, that is important for deformation, and the temperature drop and temperature rise with the accuracy of 0.1 degrees Celsius. Now coming to sensing cable can be put down in an ATM design tunnel or whether you are using TBM, because sensing cable, the only philosophy of mounting is that it should be integral to the monitoring surface. If you are having a tunnel under construction right now, and if you're using shortcutting, so you can, definitely shortcut the sensing cable because the diameter is only 3.2 millimeter. If you are already having a developed tunnel, then in that case, you can use a resin capsule based material that is only about 4 millimeter. Then you can use, even cement capsule based material or epoxy material. We recommend one thing: the biggest challenge in the industry is that your tunnel is having a different impedance because the rock mass is different. Now you are trying to, in the current state of monitoring, you are trying to spool the data in seconds. You are not able to give the sufficient time for the transfer of the strain or the transfer of the temperature information to the sensing cable. So we are able to hold the data depending on the length of the tunnel from seconds to minutes. That means we are able to hold the data from 18 seconds to even 45 minutes so that you are exactly able to get the strain transfer, what you are looking for. So impedance matching is one of the important area, and the sensing cable is designed in a way that it matches to the impedance of the rock mass. That variability has been added. And so Ms. I'll just say in a very precise way the last line. Of course, any short of mounting, whether you are going for straight line or zigzag, or you are having completely wavy type of structure, or you are having U-line, all sorts of sensing, the topology can be monitored using the sensing cable. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jha. And now I'll come to Mr. Abhijit Mazumdar. I have two questions, and please quick, small answers because our time is almost up for our session. We have 15 minutes for the audience. So can we avoid drilling, which is required to fix anchors? That is first question. And second is tunneling application also needs a lot of cutting of concrete, right? So is there a safe way of doing that? So these two aspects I would like you to elaborate on.
Sure, Dr. Raman. So when I first introduced myself, I also spoke about anchors being installed inside tunnels, where you need to drill, and that takes away a lot of time. Also, you need to install the anchors properly. The other way to look at it is to use channels which are curved, and while the segment is being cast at the casting yard, you can keep these channels in place. And once the segment is there and once the TBM is also running through, these segments are put across inside the tunnel so that they have provisions for all the connections inside right up front while the segment is being cast. Yes. So that way you avoid the drilling. The special aspect here is these channels are curved in nature so as to match the profile of the segment. And right at that time, when you put those channels inside the segment, your job is done. Later on, you do not have to drill anything. So that saves a lot of time. Obviously, we are looking at reducing the time in which we construct the tunnels. And then also later on, once the tunnel is constructed, you have to drill inside. So, it takes away that aspect as well. And the second question to answer that, cutting is unavoidable. Sometimes you have these cross passages between tunnels where you have to join these two tunnels together. There are systems available today wherein absolutely zero vibrations. You do not hamper the integrity of the structure, and the cutting is done very nicely. These are diamond core bits which are available. There are diamond wires which are available, and there are diamond plates which are available. Huge plates that can be used to cut concrete, and the slab of concrete can be easily taken out. So that way you maintain the integrity of the structure and also achieve the cutting which is required.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I think we have, as panelists, everyone has, expressed their views on the topic today. Now I'll open this discussion for the audience. So please raise your hand. I'll ask. Okay. So you raise your hand the fastest. So just briefly introduce yourself. Very briefly introduce yourself, and please also mention which speaker your question is targeted to. Brief introduction and brief question. So we can take many questions from here.
Myself, Om Divedi. I am CPM from DMRC. My question is to Shri Anand Kumar Singh, sir. And It is regarding the feasibility of innovative idea, which I got it today, right here in this session. The quality of DPR is talked about, is going down. DPR need consultants. They are expected to have a pool of experts and technology. Both are supposed to be costly. My suggestion is, let consultants' job or the workload be restricted, but the good quality work be expected from them. Let there be a DPR cost be limited to a good reasonable percentage. Competition may be done by lottery, but the quality people and the technology should be very easily and fast available to the projects for a good quality work. Sir.
Thank you, Shivo. What you said was the feasibility of innovations. And then you said a lot of things. So I feel the solution to it all is that people who are at the ground, you trust them. The consultants not only know what you are really asking about, they know a whole lot of many other things, and they would be only suggesting you what is right at that place, and you believe them, and innovations follow. I mean, innovations will follow in use of materials, in the practices, in the sequencing, in precautions. So all I say, just believe your people who are there, who are having the feel of the tunnel day in and day out, and they're breathing there. So just have faith in them. All the innovations will follow. I mean that is a limited answer.
Yeah, that's see, I very strongly recommend, which I requested organizers also. First, I was talking of the ministry itself to have a new technology group exclusively to look at new technology.
Yes.
Similarly, organizations like DMRC or IRCON, like you also can designate couple of people and let their job function be looking at the new technologies, how these technologies can be used in different projects. Maybe spend a little bit of money on pilot projects. Why not?
Yes, yes.
And
That's
and research projects should not be limited to IITs only, to be very honest. I'm a IITian, but I'm saying it with all my honesty. IITs are great research institutes, but industry also is doing a great research, right? Everyone sitting here, like be it Dr. Jha, be it Nanda Sab, they're all doing research in their own domain, coming up with great solutions. But the problem is that they have to prove it somewhere. And for that pilot kind of a thing, they look forward to organizations like DMRC, IRCON, RVNL, whoever is willing to get it tested, right? So that culture has to be developed. Anyway, so next question is coming from here. Yeah, please. Can he use that mic on the back? Can it be turned? The back mic? Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, that's innovation. Absolutely. But someone has to switch it on.
Just I am reinforcing the opinion, just what we explained. We have to educate the clients in certain projects. Our tunnel is squeezing and deformation is happening at the inward level. So we are getting more information, but where the targets are put on ground level and 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock this is. So we are getting two additional targets to fix in the tunnel for more results for predictive monitoring of the tunnel, to understand what is the treatment required and all. So this is very important factor what you people are discussing. Our CPMs have also told that. So we have to educate the client, middle level people, to take fast decisions. And this instrumentation is not so costly, but people are worried that instrumentation is very tough thing and implementation putting inside is very tough thing, and it is a costly affair. So how costly it is, and these things are to be proven to the client with ongoing projects. You can go and take more time so that we can improve the quality of work and take timely decisions to avoid big issues in the project.
Absolutely. Thanks for that observation. In fact, I always believe that investigation, monitoring, whatever money we spend in these operations is not costly at all. Costly is what happens when you do not investigate and you do not monitor, right? That's the time you end up spending enormous amount of resources, money, time, and everything. Like in our country itself, projects have been delayed for tens of years once they get stuck in a bad geology, right? So your point very well taken. Yeah, is there any? Yeah, okay, all right. Let's have a question from there, please. Briefly introduce yourself and brief question.
DeFOS, very good question from the practical consideration. DeFOS sensing cable can be put down on the surface. It can be put down in a borehole. It can be put down deep seated also. So like suppose when you are, if you look to the mechanism of strain transfer, what happens if you are trying to put down MPBX right now? Once you try to install this, the instrument, you are basically partly damage your strain profile. Because once you try to cut this, because you had no other way that you are going to cut it down, you are basically trying to disturb the full abutment. You have no other option. Now your front abutment, side abutment, all have been damaged. Now you are, so basically you have, in technical term, damaged the strain profile of that local instrument. You had no other option. Now in case of DeFOS, because the strain transfer is going to happen from the body of the mass or main roof to the surface. This sense, the purpose of having the micron is that if you can afford to put it down deep inside, like suppose you can put it down meters inside also, if you can by using a diamond cutters. If you don't want to cut your current exister, the structure, even if you try to put down on the surface, the accuracy in microns, you basically get the full strain relief. So typically in Europe, what is done right now, you try to put it down maybe half a meter inside or even 10 centimeters inside, and you put it down the another sensing cable because your monitoring length is 50 kilometers per channel. So you are trying to put it down surface, you basically get the strain gradient. And plus a live prediction of the actual data is done on the feed. So like suppose if you are getting the one spool is completed, if you try to find out that how is the deformation happening every hour, every shift, every day, per year. So this time series is very variable and you can do it down. And yeah, just last thing, and you can use also a very low cost, integrating material like resin capsule or your cement capsule of any type. So that can be done. Thank you.
You have a question? Right, please. Please go ahead. Briefly introduce yourself and ask tell the speaker you want the question from.
Can I think my mic is working, so I'll start.
Yeah, hello, sir. My name is Piyush. I'm from GeoConsult. Actually, my question is to chair because you may answer it best. What is your experience related to BEAM? Actually, we have not discussed it here so far, but because of innovative technologies we are discussing. So in DMRC, I suppose we have used BEAM for taking readings ahead of TBM. So can you please share your ideas about it? Thank you.
Right. So BEAM is a technology which is based on finding out porosity and the fluid resistivity, so to say, right? Which we feel is critical for all the TBM projects. Advantage is obviously you're not stopping the TBM operation when you're using BEAM. The way services are being offered right now, the BEAM is given as a rental to the owner. So whoever the owner is has taken that BEAM on a rental, and then they use it, and entire interface is there. If there is some problem, they will be looking at what the zone is going to be. So practically, we are not monitoring the data on day-to-day basis. Like even I do not know what kind of data is coming from. Unless client comes back to us with some observation where they need our help, we'll help them. Otherwise, entire geological matrix is prepared, put as a part of the system, which client themselves can look at alarms. For example, they are going to come across a cavity and things like this and take necessary action. But we do not look at the data once we put the system there. Right now, I think 4 equipment are being used in India, in Delhi and Patna. I think. So, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Rajat Talwar. I'm from Bosch. My question is to Mr. Nanda. Sir, I think you were talking about IoT solutions and all that. So my question is, we have seen some incident happen in one of the tunnel, and my question is, are we proposing or planning or designing some IoT-based surveillance solutions or announcement systems to ensure safety of the people when they are doing tunneling and all that, when under the development? So are such solutions planned or under proposal, or have you got something from other countries or in discussion in India?
See, good question. In fact, what is happening, what the present systems, you have early warning system everywhere now, these days. Now it is planned, and now people have maybe started implementing in a slow manner. We have been educating, we have been discussing with Varagin, with tunnels, we have been talking to, we'll be talking to Ircon also. I think Sir is available now, we'll talk to him. We are talking to many people, Chennai Metro also we've been discussing. For all real-time monitoring, yes, they are talking of early warning system. It's a real-time monitoring. But for the conventional monitoring,
Like surveillance specifically, like physical surveillance in terms of video or announcements in case of.
नहीं उसमें announcement तो उसमें naturally उसमें router provision is always there in early warning. You have router provision in this thing, and then SMS alerts, your messaging, everything goes. When your threshold crosses, no, you'll get an alert. And for nearby neighbors, router provision is there. You can tie up a router to a system depending on the area which you want to cover. So that will cover those much areas. Suppose they'll say no water level rising. There are 3 levels. One level say keep working, keep a watch. Second level says be ready to quit. Third level says run, evacuate.
Thank you, Nanda sir.
होगा आस्ते आस्ते होगा अभी आस्ते आस्ते.
Sorry. It's here. Let's be honest with time, right? All right. Okay. Go ahead. Mr. Andre, you can hear from here. There is a question for you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do tunnels collapse in Europe also during construction?
Could you hear the question, or shall I repeat it?
Can you repeat for me, Sanjay?
Do the tunnels collapse in Europe also during construction?
Yeah, we have problems of tunnels all over the world. It's not a situation that happen only in India. I think that the most important that we learn with the experience that we face, and the project that the technology that we develop, it's quite connected with situations like this, where you need to see more details in a early phase of the projects. So I saw Sanjay talking about doing the pre-investigation and doing the pre-analysis before to have the alignment. And this is a kind of a work that we do, and we have seen in Europe and other parts of the world. That if you use geophysics, but connected this with the drillings that you have on the field, you can have the full data covered in your projects. So the chances to happen a collapse in the tunnel, or to have any kind of faults or failures on the tunnel, you can see this in advance. We know that this is a new technology. We have been implemented this in Norway for the last 15 years. But yeah, it's something new. And I think India is an important moment that we learn with the experience and use these new technologies to overcome the challenges like this that happened in the past.
Thank you, Andre. It was a pleasure having you with us. And let's give a huge round of applause to audience first. No one sits through the lunchtime as attentive as you have done. And now we'll give a huge round of applause to the panelists here. Thank you. Yeah. And with this, I hand it over to the organizers, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Rana, and all the panelists for really an insightful session and interactive as well. And I may please request you all to rise for a group photograph. I think the ideas and the deliberations out of this summit go a long way in addressing the challenges and reflecting the way forward. And with this, I thank all the participants and thank you for joining today's summit. I would also request all the delegates to join for lunch at the banquet hall. And for our speakers and sponsors, the lunch is at the council room. There's also to download the knowledge report for Paneling India.
Can you please access the QR code at the registration desk? We have a QR code at the registration desk for the knowledge.
Thank you so much. I request all the delegates to please interact and engage with our exhibitors outside during this time. Thank you.